Hello everyone, I'm very glad that you listened to my story. Please give me a follow and like the video if you enjoyed it. Feel free to comment and provide feedback so I can improve the sound quality. Yes, I will now continue the unfinished story. Chapter 81, Ambush. Time 20:05. While entering Zhang Financier's main office, I had equipped a C-rank Rainbow Poison Blaster mounted full-body scaled armor card, 5 stars, and 5 D-rank Poison Gas Bomb card, 3 stars, completely occupying all the 6-item card slots. So, 20 stars of my total 34 star power were occupied. The Poison Gas Bomb has an area of effect of 150 meters, 2 poison gas bombs should be more than enough inside the lobby, but I placed 3 poison gas bomb. 2 bombs were for the lobby, but the last one was placed inside the building main vent, which was conveniently positioned by the service room next to the security room. Even though I had placed 4 poison gas bomb, my 4 item cards were still occupied, but instead of poison gas bomb, the item card slots showed poison gas bomb trigger. Therefore, 20 star of my 34 star were still occupied. When I finally detonated the 5 poison gas bombs, my 5 out of 6 item card slots were emptied, and now only 5 star of my 34 star was occupied, allowing me to equip C-rank Poison Soul Beam Rifle, 4 stars, and D-rank Stealth Clock, 3 stars, bring my occupied star power back to 12 stars/34 stars. I entered the prison dungeon and tried to use Stealth Cloak card on Ronnie, but I received a string of notifications. You have tried to use Stealth Cloak card on Ronnie without the permission of the Dungeon Master Joe Meyer. Prison Dungeon finds you as hostile and has automatically designated you as invader. As the invader of Prison Dungeon, you are facing the following penalties. You are unable to summon your grimoire. You are unable to leave the prison dungeon without the permission of Prison Dungeon Master Joe Meyer. Your star power is halved. All your stats have decreased by 10%. You will be attacked by Prison Dungeon Self-Defense, 10 F-rank Prison Guard Golems and 1 E-rank Prison Warden Golem. First penalty invalid, as invader had already summoned his grimoire before entering the prison dungeon. Second penalty applied, as Dungeon Master is unresponsive. Prison Dungeon automatically authorizes the second penalty. You're now unable to leave the prison dungeon without the permission of the Dungeon Master. Third penalty applied, your current star power is 17 stars 12 stars/17 stars. Fourth penalty applied, all your stats have been reduced by 10%. Fifth penalty applied, 10 F-rank Prison Guard Golems and 1 E-rank Prison Warden Golem being summoned. Kindly surrender to change your status from invader to inmate and stop the pursuit of prison guards and warden. Reading the notifications, I was impressed with the prison dungeon card, and here I thought that the creationist of this world did not have imagination. A card being able to trap and have the star power of a card apprentice was already a remarkable card, not to mention the other penalties. Thanks to the notification, I could conclude the following. Joe Meyer the guard was still under the hallucination effect of the poison gas bomb, as the prison dungeon found its dungeon master unresponsive. The prison dungeon card was the origin card of Joe Meyer. Joe Meyer was of card scholar realm, as the highest rank of the golems was E rank. Finally, unless I completely rendered Joe Meyer unconscious, I and Ronnie could not leave the prison dungeon. As I was assessing the situation, 10 F-rank prison guard golems and 1 E-rank prison warden golem were summoned right to my location, such that the 11 golems had surrounded me, blocking my exit from all directions. I already knew that even though I was invisible, the prison dungeon could accurately pinpoint my location within it, thanks to its detection ability, which I discovered when the guard spotted the poison gas bomb earlier. The third penalty to have the invader's star power was impressive ability, but it did not affect me at all, as my card star ratings were very low except for the Abyssal Bear card, which had a card rating of 26 stars. Even though my stats were reduced by 10%, the 10 F-rank prison guard golems and 1 E-rank prison warden golem were not my match, thanks to my C-rank poison blaster mounted full-body rainbow scaled armor card, which gave me the defense of a C-rank rainbow serpent and C-rank physical strengthening. While carrying Ronnie in one hand, I defeated each of the F-rank prison guard golems with a single punch, and as for the E-rank prison guard golem, Its body crumbled with a single punch of mine, but the broken golems regenerated. To my surprise, I did not find any core in their body to destroy them for good even after I activated my soul pupils. Considering that the prison dungeon card is the origin card of Joe Meyer, then the core of the golems should be Joe Meyer himself. Since I knew that the golem's core was Joe Meyer himself, I no longer wasted my time fighting with the prison golems. Getting rid of them, I ran to paralyzed Joe Meyer, who was laying on the chair with his eyes wide open, but those eyes looked confused, making it easier for me to knock him out without a second delay. With that, the golems rushing towards me vanished, indicating that the prison dungeon card was no longer in play. Unconscious or not, Joe Meyer was not my opponent. This is the advantage of having a higher grade grimoire, and, if not for me having a silver grade grimoire, I would not have been able to equip C rank cards, enabling me to defeat card apprentices with a higher realm than me, even though my stats were refused by 10%. Not to mention the card ratings, most of the card apprentices of the card student realm would be rendered combat-less under the third penalty, which would have their soul energy, making half their equipped cards useless. This was not the victory of my combat prowess, but my high-grade grimoire and near-perfect cards with the lowest possible card ratings. Using the stealth cloak item card on Ronnie and turning him invisible, I carried him to the staff stairs. Thanks to the C rank physical strengthening effect of the poison blaster mounted full-body rainbow-scaled armor, Ronnie's weight did not hinder my speed. Climbing the staff stairs to the first underground floor that is used as an underground parking lot, I exited the Zhang Financier's main office building through the parking lot exit. The security guard in the booth at the exit was also paralyzed and under hallucination. It seems the poison gas bomb that I placed in the building main vent worked exceptionally. Without looking back, I hastily rushed to leave this block of the South Zone on foot before anybody realized the peculiarity within the Zhang Financier's main office, or even worse, the arrival of Kevin Zhang along with his top goons. Running 4 blocks far away from the Zhang Financier's main office, I finally stopped to hire a cab, but could not since Ronnie was paralyzed and hallucinating. I thought of carrying an antidote but did not, as my item car slots were full and there was no point in carrying them since the poison blaster mounted full body rainbow scaled armor card gave me a poison immunity, another reason why I chose the poison gas bomb, as its poison was from green-horned poison frog. Even though the poison was only temporary, it would still take hours before the effects of the poison start to wear down, because the poison gas was of D rank and 2 realms higher than Ronnie, who was only a card student, so its effects on Ronnie would last longer. So, I could only carry Ronnie and walk to the warehouse, avoiding the main streets and crowded area in stealth. Time 2023. Ben, you have made all the arrangements properly, right? Why isn't everyone rushing out to receive me? Asked Kevin Zhang, seated in a luxurious black limousine which was parked right in front of the Zhang Financier's main office main entrance. I have arranged everything properly, uncle. Please wait, let me call them to check what's the delay. Replied Benley as he hurriedly summoned his grimoire to call the goons. But to his surprise, nobody answered his calls. Benley started to sweat vigorously under heart fear and nervousness. Imagining the worst, he panicked and stutteringly said, "You uncle, it seems we have a problem. Nobody inside the building is answering my call." Kevin Zhang frowned and asked the driver to drive into the building's underground parking lot. To their surprise, the security guard in the booth at the entrance of the parking lot was laying on the floor. One of the goons got out, and the condition of the security guard only to be affected by the residual poison inside the booth. Seeing the goon who went to check on the security guard fall to the ground, Kevin Zhang shouted, "Poison! Fouquet, quick, get out of here!" Hearing Kevin Zhang's order, the driver did not delay and fled the scene. The atmosphere in the Luminous was tense, especially Benley. He knew from today on that his uncle would not trust him with anything. Kevin Zhang was a cautious type, and because of this, he was able to survive till now in the underworld. Considering the situation, the first thing that came to Kevin's mind was to flee the scene to avoid any possible ambush or assassination attempts. It did not matter if his decision was wrong or right, as long he was alive. Who cares if he was wrong? "You uncle. What is going on?" Just before leaving the airfield, I checked on them while informing them about your safe arrival and be prepared to receive you. Everything was normal then. What happened? Just within 40 minutes. Chapter 82, Safe. Location, Sky Blossom City, East Zone, Madison Garden. Uncle, what do we do next? Almost 3/4 of our manpower were in the main office building. If all of them are assassinated, then wouldn't the Zhang mercenaries be doomed with this? After fleeing the Zhang main office in a hurry, Banley and his uncle Kevin along with what remains of Zhang mercenaries seemed to refuse in Madison Garden instead of going to their houses, as therein lied the risk of ambush like what happened in the main office building. Hearing Banley, Kevin Zhang trembled with anger and shouted, "You fool, I am the Zhang mercenary. As long I breathe, the Zhang mercenaries live and have a chance of revival. Now is not the time to mop around, we have to find who is targeting us before it is too late." "Uncle, how about I have someone call the emergency number and report cops about the incident at the main office building? This way cops will do all the work for us." "You dumbass, this way aren't you just handing our enemies enough reason to investigate us and get rid of us legally? The main office is the center of our operation. It contains all the records and material evidence of our dirty laundry. I am starting to regret handing you my life work." Zhang was filled with rage, but it was cooled down with his regret of choosing Banley as his successor based on nepotism. "Uncle, no need to worry, I have everything under control. Even if the coups tear down the building, they would not find any material evidence of our dirty deeds, because 4 days ago I had everything shifted to your mansion in the South Zone because the main office building was like hot potato. I always feared when the police will raid it. The current main office building is just an empty shell except for the few rats stored on the 3rd underground floor." Banley explained his reason for involving cops. Hearing his nephew's deeds, Kevin Zhang felt chill in his heart because the main office building was registered under his nephew's name, so even if the cops raided these place, Kevin could deny any knowledge or connection with shady things going on in the main office building and use his nephew as a scapegoat. But now all the evidence had been shifted to his mansion, which meant Banley was in clear and Zhang was trouble. The worst thing was Zhang did not know if his nephew did this on purpose or he just had an innocent foresight. Time 21:19. It took me an hour to reach the warehouse on foot while carrying Ronnie in stealth. As I walked into the warehouse, I saw Corey and Susan both pacing around the warehouse with a serious expression. Turning off stealth, I asked, "What happened? Why are you guys so tense?" "Ah. Ah. Wyatt." Appearing out of nowhere, out blue. "You scared us," Susan exclaimed with puffed cheeks. "Sorry. I should have removed the stealth before entering the warehouse, I guess." "You guess? I almost activated my magnetic field card on you." "Please be more responsible," Corey rebutted. "But did I not inform you earlier that the rescue was a success and to prepare an antidote for green-horned poison, frog poison? Anyway, thank you, Corey, for not using your magnetic field card on me." Saying that, I deactivated the stealth cloak card as I placed poisoned Ronnie on the couch. After I placed Ronnie on the couch, Susan hurriedly came next to the couch and used the antidote on Ronnie and said that should do it. "He should wake up any minute now. By the way guys, if you guys are here, who is watching over Jackie? What if she wakes up?" Jackie was suspiciously knocked out, and if she were to wake up to unknown surroundings, it would have freaked her out. "No need to worry, we called a professional to take care of Jackie. Seeing how Jackie was unconscious for a long time, we were troubled thinking about her being pregnant and all. Don't worry, she is a friend of mine, I called in a favor." Susan explained, "I guess I was hastily knocking Jackie out without considering her being 5 to 6 months pregnant. Thank you." I thank Susan sincerely for considering something that I did not think of. "The baby and the mother are fine and healthy, no need to worry. I will go ask my friend to wake up Jackie since the problem is solved and the situation is better now." Susan tried to console me. "Yeah. Thank you." I had known Susan only for a few days now, but I had already become very dependent on her and she had become a part of my life. I was lucky to have made such a friend. As Susan left towards the bedroom, I looked at Corey and said, "Thank you, Corey." "Why are you thanking me? I did nothing to help you," Corey replied shyly. No you did, and you staying at the warehouse even past your working hours say it all. Corey's shift was already over by 19:30, but still, she stuck around accompanying Susan when she could have gone home. By the way, did you both have dinner yet? No, we did not. Okay, let this couple wake and we can all have dinner together. Okay. Corey exclaimed excitedly. While I and Corey were chatting, Jackie ran out from the bedroom shouting Ronnie's name, and seeing unconscious Ronnie she rushed next to him, raised his head and sat on the couch. While laying Ronnie's head on her lap she started to caress his face as she whispered, "Baby, wake up. It's me. Baby, wake up. Don't worry Jackie, he is just unconscious and he will wake up within the next 10 minutes. You lied to me. You never plan on getting help from the guild or the authorities, in the first place." Jackie glared at me. "You would never agree to plan anyway, so I did what I had to." I did not bother to explain my actions to her. "But why did you knock me out? I could have helped. How could you put yourself in danger? Do you think Ronnie would be happy knowing his cousin getting hurt, or worse, to rescue him? No, he would not. Wyatt, I know I may be sounding ungrateful and all, but how you shoulder all the sudden yourself. I may not have been able to help you, but we could have shared the burden of making the choice together. In the future please refrain from doing such things. Back in the cab, you told me Ronnie is family, then we are a family, let's work together in future. No more lone hero stuff anyway, thank you. Wyatt, you did not just save one life but you saved 3 lives today. WTF. Just say thank you and be done with it. Why are you spouting such cringe stuff? Yes. Jackie is right Wyatt. Earlier I was very mad and angry at myself for allowing you to go alone. There were many other ways I could have helped you, but at that time I could not think of any and was of no help, but later I regretted it, thinking of all the ways I could have helped you, but it was already too late. Wyatt, as my client, every time you get a business you fairly give me my share, but when the times were difficult you shoulder the burden all alone. Susan, you too? I followed the most effective method. If I needed help I would have asked you guys. Who is playing alone here? Who is shouldering the burden alone? You are giving me more credit than I deserve. I said, sly, scratching the back of my head. Wyatt, I think they are not praising you, said Corey. While we were bickering, Ronnie regained consciousness. Excited Jackie gently caressed his hair and said, "Baby, you awake, how are you feeling?" Muddled Ronnie, hearing Jackie's voice, hurriedly opened his eyes to be greeted by Jackie's face. Shocked Ronnie tried to get, but the C-rank poison had taken a toll on his body and was completely limp and unresponsive to his command. Terrified Ronnie shouted, "Jackie, what are doing here? Did those beasts kidnap you too?" "No baby, calm down, you are safe now, we are at your cousin Wyatt's place." See, Jackie tried to ease alarmed Ronnie. "Hey, Ronnie, don't worry, everything is taken care of, you and Jackie are safe now. I did not know this side, but the Wyatt family cared a lot about him, so I had to save him. I owe the Wyatt couple and son a lot, especially Mama Wyatt, whose inheritance I had inherited. If not for inheritance I would be struggling to survive in this world right now." "Wyatt, is that you? Why did you get involved in this? Those guys are heinous and won't stop at anything," Ronnie said agitatedly. "Cousin, calm down. Right now you are safe, just house on that and forget about those goons, they won't trouble us in future, trust me." "How did you bring me here? They would not leave me just like that, right?" "Do not worry about that, what you should be worried about is your parents. They will be here soon," Jackie and Ronnie exclaimed together. "And Ronnie, so you inform them that I was here?" "No. I just asked them to come here since the village was no longer a safe place for them, with Jackie's father and village guard chief out for your blood." "Yes. You did the right thing. But won't the village head and guard chief know that I and Jackie are hiding here?" "Let them, they may be kings in the village, but the Sky Blossom City they are similar to every other average Joe in the city. You both are legally adults and they cannot force you to do anything. And aren't you supposed to call the village head father-in-law? Take responsibility, man, after all you did knock up his daughter and elope with her. When Uncle and Auntie Wyatt arrive, how about you two get married? I don't want my niece or nephew to be born in sin. Ronnie, Wyatt is right. I never once heard you address my parents as your in-laws, but whereas I already address your parents as mother and father. Jackie voiced her discontent. Chapter 83, Grandpa. Time 21:42. Your father is too scary. Whenever I think about calling him father-in-law, I feel goosebumps rising all over my body. Ronnie defended. Now you are just making an excuse. Even though he is arrogant, conniving and grim-looking, he is rather a soft-hearted man to the people he loves. As long as you get on his good side, you will see his warm and generous nature, said Jackie while glaring at Ronnie, but her hands still gently caressed his hair while his head laid on her lap. Ignoring Jackie's glare, Ronnie turned his head to Jackie's belly bump and kissing it, he said, I missed you, baby. Did you miss Daddy? A 17-year-old boy and a 20-year-old pregnant girl couple act all lovely-dovey. I felt my stomach churn and threw up a little. I had my fair share of girls, but never met the one that would make me feel whole. Ah. I kinda envied these two for finding each other. You two, can't you control it? I said, looking at them with disgust. If they did, she would not be pregnant in the first place, would she? Said Susan mockingly. This was new said of Susan. I never thought existed in her. No matter how professional she acts, she still is a single woman in her prime. Hearing Susan's comment, Jackie's face turned red with shame and embarrassment, while Ronnie just laughed as if he heard someone compliment his achievement. Seeing Ronnie take pride, ashamed, Jackie pinched his thigh. Aw. Jackie, don't, you know I am sensitive in that area. We are in company, remember? Said Ronnie with a straight face. Perv. Pushing Ronnie's head off her lap, Jackie stood up in shame. Big sis Susan, don't worry, you will find you're the one soon. Corey suddenly teased Susan. I did not notice Corey and Susan had gotten that close. Little girl, looks like I was too lenient on you. Now you dare to tease your big sis, said Susan as she twisted Corey's ear. It hurts, big sis, I am sorry, please forgive, Corey begged in pain. Releasing Corey's ear, Susan said, hope you learned your season. Yes, big sis, I will never mention your love life again, said Corey. She felt wronged for stating the obvious. Susan glared at Corey and menacingly she said, looks like you need to stay for extra makeup lessons, Corey. Guys. I am hungry, who's up for barbecue and beer? I asked. If I left them like this, they would talk nonsense till the sunrise. Today was a rather busy day for me. All I want right now is to chug chill beer and fill my stomach with barbecue. Okay, Corey and Susan agreed simultaneously. Let's go, what are you waiting for? Urged Jackie. Ahem, wife, hearing beer, you forgot your husband. You know you are still pregnant and cannot have a beer, right? Guys, I still have not regained control over my body, Ronnie, who was still laid on the couch, said awkwardly. Jackie was embarrassed and her face was red with shame. Forgetting her husband was no big deal, but her baby, which she is carrying in her stomach right now, how can I forget my baby? Am I a bad mother? This incident made Jackie second guess everything she was sure about until now. Seeing her like that, Susan tried to comfort her by saying, Jackie, don't worry about it, it's your pregnancy brain. It is acting up since you have been under a lot of stress lately. Yes, baby. Big sis is right. Sorry, because of me you had to go through all this. If only I was more capable. Ronnie knew he had said something he should not have and apologized to Jackie and took the whole blame. No, baby, you are the best. You cannot take the blame for what those guys did. I am happy that you are safe now. Hearing Ronnie take the blame and apologies, Jackie was touched and her heart felt warmer. Wyatt, did you hear that? Ronnie called me big sis. Why can't you be more like him? This again. Susan has been on my back ever since that day at the auction to call her big sister. Forget it. That kid doesn't know your name, that is why he called you big sis. As for me, just give up, not happening. I said with annoyance. We will see. Susan's eyes flashed as she said that, and added, how about I just prepare some food right here? I had stocked the fridge in the afternoon. In the afternoon, while I was helping Elliot create his origin card, Susan, with the help of the mall management, had built a bedroom, restroom with shower and a kitchen with dining hall along with required furniture in the warehouse. What are you going to prepare? I asked. Nothing fancy, macaroni and cheese. That's it? I was really hungry as I had to skip lunch receiving Uncle Wyatt's call. Mac and cheese wouldn't be enough. At moment's notice, that's all I can prepare. If you are willing to wait, I can make something fancy. And I have 2 cartons of beer. If you have meat and bread, I can make grilled sandwiches, Jackie offered. Yes we do, and I will make mashed potatoes, said Corey in high spirits. Great. Mac and cheese, grilled sandwich, mashed potato, and beer. This wasn't what I expected, since 3 beauties offered to cook for us. How dare I reject? I said. Okay, leave it to us. Dinner for 5, said Susan as the girls walked towards the kitchen. But suddenly a deep mellow voice sounded. How about you add this old man too? If you don't mind, that is. Hearing this voice, everyone was spooked and turned to the source of the voice. It was an old man dressed in tacky clothes. Grandpa? What are you doing here? Corey recognized the old man and called out. I should be asking you that. Why aren't you heading home? Do you know how worried I was? You could have at least called to inform. William Bright said sternly. But I did send you a message, Corey complained. Did you? Said William, acting to check his grimoire because he had already read the message earlier. When Corey did not arrive home after work as usual, William was worried and thinking of the worst. He headed out to check on his princess. But by the time he reached the warehouse, Corey had sent him a message informing him that she would be late. What can he do? He was already here and decided on voyeurism. Knowing that Corey would be angry, William chose to watch quietly, hiding his presence. Apart from being happy about Corey making friends, he wanted to see if she was being treated right by her new friends. Everything was fine until this kid named Wyatt came. That kid would glance at that place he was hiding from time to time as if he could see him. Thinking it was just a coincidence, he let go and continued to hide. He would have continued to hide till the end, but when he heard his granddaughter was going to make mashed potatoes, to taste his granddaughter's handmade mashed potatoes, he chose to come out of hiding. Welcome, Lord Bright, you are Corey's grandfather, how can we refuse you? Dinner for 6 it is, said Susan, being respectful. That old man was William Bright. He was not your average rich old man, he was lord of the Bright family and a golden grimoire holder. No need for honorifics and formalities. I come here today as Corey's grandfather, a concerned guardian, said William humbly. Old man, you finally decided to show yourself. If not for you being Corey's relative, I would have called the enforcers on you. I said. When I returned to the warehouse, I had this feeling of being monitored, so I turned on my soul pupil and scanned the whole warehouse, only to find a figure with large soul energy hiding in the shadows of the wall. At first, I panicked and almost called enforcers, even though I knew they wouldn't be a match for the figure hiding in shadows, but they could buy some time for me, Susan and the rest to escape. I finally calmed down, and then it dawned upon me I had seen a partially similar soul pathway arrangement somewhere else. I tried hard to remember, then my sight fell on Corey and knew that Corey and the figure hiding in shadow were related. As soul arrangements can be similar on some level if both the people are related. Knowing that it was someone related to Corey, I thought the figure was her secret bodyguard and left him alone. But never would I have guessed that the Bright family lord himself would personally guard his granddaughter. Grandpa? Is Wyatt speaking the truth? Asked Corey. I thought of Corey as my friend, and I would like to think Corey would not want me to hide this from her. Listen, my princess. Let Grandpa explain. I was worried and came to check on you. After all, you were late. Please do not be angry, forgive Grandpa this once, this the last time I will act like this. The esteemed lord of the Bright family acted like a troubled parent and begged Corey for forgiveness. Chapter 84, Masochist Hero. Time 21:51. After Corey forgave William, the girls went to cook while I and Ronnie were left to entertain the lord of the Bright family. Old man, you have a big family, wife, children, and grandchildren. Didn't anyone teach you how to dress? I get that you are a golden grimoire holder, but that does not give you a pass on killing proper dressing. What's with that blue polka dot shirt over yellow floral print pants along with a pair of white cowboy boots? Where did you buy floral print pants? Do they even make those? Seeing how you are my friend's grandpa, let me give you advice on clothing. If you think it is appropriate to wear, then don't wear them. For someone with all the money and power in Sky Blossom City, William was dressed tacky. I am not vain to judge other people on their dressing or clothes, but what William was wearing was too painful to watch. His colors of choice had left the flamboyant station and stopped at the freak station. Kid, you know my identity and still dare to talk to me like that? Do you think I will let this pass just because you befriended my granddaughter? William was trembling with anger. Does he not know that his dressing is not appropriate? He does. But what can he do? They are the requirements of his origin card and he cannot control them. If he cannot fulfill the requirements of his origin card in time, then he will be penalized, but if he does satisfy them, then he gets a random boost to his stats and cards. William's origin card's demands are always too embarrassing and shameful to fulfill, but the more the shameful and embracing requirements, the stronger the boosts William gains. These requirements refresh every week and are random. Because of this origin card, William was at odds with his father and elders, but once he rose to power and became family lord, he was now at odds with his beloved wife, who happens to be a very vain person. She almost divorced him if not for him threatening her with suicide. She loved him, that's the reason she married him in the first place, but she could not stand William embracing and making a fool of himself on the weekly basis and gaining the nickname Masochist Hero in their friend circle. People did not dare to call the majestic Bright family lord by that name, but the other family leaders and association leaders were not afraid and even dared to taunt her with her husband's dark secret. Because William's wife loved him too much, she fought hard and sought the card scraping card for her husband to scrape off his blasphemy of an origin card. But William did not agree with her, because even though his origin card made him do shameful and foolish things, it gave him great strength enough to challenge opponents at a higher realm than himself. This great strength provided by his origin card was one of the reasons the family elders, who hated him because of his black history due to his origin card, did not oppose to him becoming the family lord. Since William was not willing to scrape his origin card, William's wife threatened him with divorce, to which William threatened her with suicide. But now a junior of the card student realm dared to do what the rest of the city dreaded to do. William was angry beyond any words could describe. If not for his granddaughter's sake, he would have obliterated this young ignorant calf who did not fear the tiger in front of him. Old man, are you angry? Good, now that I know that you do have some dignity and resistance felt even after being abused by your origin card for a lifetime, I will offer you a chance. What if I were to offer you a way to control your origin card? Do you have the guts to take me up on that offer? I am willing to bet my life on this gamble, old man. What about you? Are you willing to come out of the shadow cast on you by your origin card? William was quite a famous figure in Sky Blossom City even before he became the lord of the Bright family, thanks to his origin card. William was one of the lucky ones who found his fated ingredient as soon as he contracted a grimoire. But since that day his black history began. At first, the conditions mentioned by the origin card were just childish mischievous act which made him gain the public wrath of the entire Sky Blossom City. Bright family elders had to come out to explain the situation to the public, but as William's strength grew, the conditions mentioned by the origin card became crazier and crazier, but never included harm to others or self-harm. Another reason for the Sky Blossom City tolerates him apart from his insane prowess. Thanks to William and his origin card's popularity, it was not hard for me to gather information on William's origin card. Though I knew about the conditions, penalty, and rewards of his card, I did not know what William's origin card real info. My info was based on what the Bright family elders disclosed and the rumors floating around in the grimoire network. But this info was more than enough for me to be interested in William's origin. I was curious about this card because I heard that thanks to the strength of this card William single-handedly cleared the A-rank dungeon. I was about to create my second origin card, and this is the last origin card I can ever create. After this, there are no take-backs until I find a card scraper of the corresponding level. Since I can only create one last origin card, I wanted this card to be the best out there, able to face any card thrown at it, seeing how there are many varieties of card which could kill me without me knowing. This is the reason why I taunted a bull like William. I wanted the secret hidden in his origin card. Ha ha ha. Kid, you cracked me up. I will forgive you once considering my granddaughter's face, but if you try your tricks on me or my granddaughter once again, even good will not save you from wrath, threatened William, as suddenly out of nowhere I felt thousands of tons of pressure pressing on my soul. My soup was like a rubber ball that would be quashed any second now. Only one thing came to my mind: feeling this pressure. Intimidating aura. No, intimidating aura only works on a person's mental state, it does not directly affect a person's soul. This pressure was different. It felt like if Willem wanted to, he could separate my soul from my body. I know this feeling, I have felt before. Yes, it was when I died in my past life as my soul left my body. Fuck, the rumors were true. You are a monster even for a golden rank grimoire holder. Is this the boost provided by your origin card, to be able to attack the opponent's soul? No wonder you don't give up on this origin card. With this, you could easily kill the opponent beyond your realm. Colored me impressed. My gamble still holds good, old man. I bet on my life I have a way for you to control your card to a certain extent without affecting its power. The pressure on my soul was enough to send me to a temporary coma, if not for me having experienced soul-stripping pain during my death in my last life. William was shocked. This was the first time he had seen someone of the card student realm withstand a direct attack on their soul. Before, if William thought Wyatt was just boasting and was ignorant, now he was impressed, but not enough to believe Wyatt had a way to control his origin card. William's eyebrows raised, and he wanted to see if how much of the soul pressure this ant in front of could withstand, so he slowly began to increase the pressure on Wyatt's soul without hearing the words that came out of Wyatt's mouth. Feeling the pressure on soul increase, I knew what William was doing. This bastard took my life as entertainment to satisfy his curiosity. But I did not regret my approach to gain William's attention. Rather, I was more determined than before. I knew people like William, if they do not acknowledge your strength, they will not buy, even if you were selling the secret to become good. But finally, not being able to withstand the pressure on my soul, I gritted my teeth and said, "You lewd granddaughter-loving pervy old man. You forced me, Corey, your grandpa is killing me. Help." Hearing Wyatt shout, William's mouth twitched and wanted to quash Wyatt's soul once and for all, but he controlled himself. He did not want Wyatt's suffering to end here. How dare he sully his pure love for his granddaughter? Wyatt had to suffer. Suffer for eternity. Chapter 85, Soul-Splitting Pain. Time 22:03. The more I knew about various types of cards available in this world, the more I felt as if I could die any moment, while I would not even know the reason for why and how I was dead. This also had many psychological effects on me, leading to me feel like I was back in my past life, where I could not trust anybody or relax for a second or let down my guard because it would cost me my life. I thought I could live a new life in this new world, but the more involved I got in this new life, more of my insecurities surfaced. Recently I no longer had the scene of security, as I felt a constant threat to my life which kept me on alert. Therefore I always felt that I had to get stronger, but I seemed to have not enough time to get stronger, so I decided on creating my second origin card, which would be the fastest way I could become stronger. I had everything in place for my second origin card: the Viltronian Soul Pathway arrangement for a human core, Dungeon Calamity Seed, Soul Jades, resources, capital, and had decided to create my soul pathway tonight. But who knew that fate had other plans for me? Instead of increasing my strength, I ended up spending all my money and in knee-deep debt creating cards for an infiltration and rescue mission. C rank Rainbow Scale Full Body Armor Item Card X1 $14.2 million. C rank shoulder mount blaster item card X1 $7.32 million. C rank core X1 $125,000. C rank green horned frog poison gland X2 $9.12 million. C rank soul beam rifle item card X1 $6.78 million. C rank physical strengthening skill card X1 $8 million. D rank stealth cloak X1 $6.805 million. D poison gas bombs X5 $7.65 million. Total cost $60 million. Yep. Ronnie's rescue cost me freaking $60 million, otherwise rescuing him wouldn't have been as easy as it took. Fuck. I poured all my money like water to rescue this shit I don't even know just because I owed Mama Wyatt. It would have cost me less if I chose to directly kill all the Zhang mercenary goons and step on their corpse to rescue Ronnie, but then I would become a wanted man and would have been on the run just like in my past life. Fuck. I tried to calm myself by thinking about the different ways I would take my revenge on the Zhang mercenaries, but it did not help, as taking revenge in legal ways was boring. Revenge on Zhang mercenary was no longer young Wyatt's revenge. It had become personal, because if not for them kidnapping Ronnie, I would not have to pour what was left of all my wealth in on Ronnie's rescue mission. I had made $86 million while working with fine gold, of which $20 million was used to pay the loan given by Corey's pretentious aunt, and another $20 million was used by Susan to purchase a D-rank parallel thinking card, leaving me with $46 million. Adding the $4 million I had left from the auction money after buying the hoverbike ingredients for $2.15 million, I had an approximate total of $50 million bank balance, which I wanted to use to create my second origin card, because the faster way to become stronger than having strong cards is to have a strong origin card. But who knew, all of a sudden out of nowhere I had a cousin whom I would end up rescuing, which would cost me $60 freaking million. Not only did I use all my money for the rescue, I ended up taking a $10 million loan in Susan's name. Why take a loan in Susan's name, you ask? Because she has better credit points than me, so she gets better interest rates than me. Who would you loan money to, a high schooler with a silver grade grimoire or an auction manager at Association Guild Mall? It is obvious. My shop just went online on the Grimoire network today morning and I was already knee-deep in debt. I had 11 soul jades given to me by Elliot. I could sell one of them and all my money troubles would be gone, poof. Just like that. But that would be dumb, because I could not buy a soul jade even if I wanted to for twice the price I would be selling my soul jade for. Knowing that I had all this wealth but I still had to take a loan in my friend's name frustrated me. I could pay off all the debt by selling the C-rank poison blaster mounted full body armor, C-rank poison soul beam rifle and the D-rank stealth cloak, since I no longer had any use for them, but to get the best price for them I would have wait for next mall auction. Within a day I went from a millionaire to debtor. In my last life, even though I was on a run, I never had any shortage of money, but in this world no matter how much money I earned I still ended up with debt. I started to believe that Lady Fortune did not favor young Wyatt. I needed to get stronger. For that I needed money. That's when the walking treasury walked into the warehouse, the lord of the Bright family, William Bright. William Bright had right what I wanted. A buttload of money, check. Mysterious and powerful origin card, check. Dire problems which I could solve, check. William Bright was like a God-sent answer to my prayers. Ever since I knew about his origin card, I wanted to know more about and solve all the mysteries behind its power and make them my own. From the rumors of William's origin card, it was one of a kind, as it was able to initiate a conversation with the card apprentice and put forth demands. If not satisfied, it could even punish the card apprentice, which is unheard of, as the card apprentice are the masters of the cards and grimoires, and origin cards are supposed to be a part of the card apprentice. Even a small discovery in solving this card's mystery can mean a huge boost in the strength of my second origin card, because what I had planned for my second origin card was more than just a human core or dungeon calamity. It was a game changer, and I think the mysterious of William's origin card can help me further achieve my goals. This is the reason I did not hesitate to taunt this pervy old man even at the cost of my life. Corey, your grandpa is killing me. Help. My cry for help was so loud that Ronnie, who was sleeping peacefully on the couch, jolted and fell on the ground. As for Corey, it took a while for her to process my words, but she rushed to my rescue. Jackie rushed behind her too, but was stopped by Susan, who asked her to hide just in case for the worst possible scenario, while Susan herself rushed to my rescue. Thinking about the safety of the unborn baby in her belly, Jackie listened to Susan and stayed behind, as even a small disturbance in her soul pathways could lead to severe consequences for the baby, whose soul pathways are in the process of being formed. Shut it, brat. Do you think Corey can save you? If you don't close your trap, believe it or not, I will crush your soul to powder. William was frustrated. This was the first time someone dared to sully his love for his granddaughter by comparing it to a pedophile. The rage William was feeling was beyond words. He wanted Wyatt to suffer, not just for a moment but for eternity. He wanted to leave an imprint that would teach this smart-mouthed, noisy brat not to mess with someone who can kill you with a thought, or you are not capable of killing. Blinded by rage, William did something which he would not wish on his enemies. He started to use to slice apart a small piece of Wyatt's soul. Feeling his soul being sliced, Wyatt, who was sweating like he was in a sauna, suddenly slumped to the ground and rolled in pain from actual soul splitting. Ronnie, who just woke up, did not know what happened. All he knew from Wyatt's cry for help was that the old man in front of him was killing his cousin. Without giving it a thought, he summoned his grimoire and, using his E-rank physique enhancement card, he threw the couch next to him at the old man. William did not even dodge the couch, as once it neared 3 feet to him it burst into powder. William was having his share of fun slicing up Wyatt's soul, but before he could even finish, he heard his beloved granddaughter shouting, "Grandpa, stop it right now. Otherwise, I won't speak to you anymore for the rest of my life." Chapter 86, Dungeon Reversal. Time 21:36. Location: Sky Blossom City, B-rank Blue Blossom Lakefield Dungeon. 110 military-grade cargo helicopters were hooked to 10 small container vessels as they carried the 10 small container vessels in the clear black night sky filled with sparkling stars. Inside the leading container vessel, the leaders of all 3 Sun Boars, Raven, and Tyrant Guild were having a meeting, and the atmosphere in the conference room seemed to be heated. "Shit. Boris, this is not what we talked about. Why did you not get the floater container vessels? Instead you brought these antique ships. Have you gone mad? This is not what we agreed upon." A blurry middle-aged man wearing nothing but pants shouted at the scholarly middle-aged man in a black bodysuit. "Shut up, Mark. I already told you back at the yard, if you don't like my arrangements you can just leave. Stop bitching and listen for once." The scholarly middle-aged man named Boris was annoyed by Mark. This fellow, since entering the shipping vessel, has not stopped moving his damned mouth. Why this, why that, he would just complain about every little inconvenience like a spoiled little prince. Everyone had a limit, and this muscle brain was edging his limit. "Who are you calling a bitch, you little skinny-assed fool? Believe it or not, I squeeze your brain and make myself a milkshake." Mark was the 3rd-gen guild leader of the Sun Boars Guild. The guild was named Sun Boars because of the origin card passed down to every generation of guild leaders. He was known for his anger, and right now he was very angry with Boris for not keeping his word. Boris is the current guild leader of the Raven Guild. Only he knew how much pains he went through to arrange for these 110 cargo helicopters and 10 small shipping container vessels. Seeing them not appreciate his work, instead acted arrogantly and blamed him, Boris was also very pissed. Seeing that the situation finally was going to go sideways, Van decided to no longer stay quiet and said, "Calm down, you two. Do not forget our purpose. All 3 of our guild's future depends on us clearing this dungeon." Mark, calm down. Boris must have his reasons for not choosing the floater vessels. Let him explain. Since you and your guild members have gotten on these shipping vessels, then I believe you trust Guild Master Boris's decision. Stop throwing a tantrum. Mark just grunted and looked at Boris for an explanation. "I had already rented 10 floater vessels, but at the last moment, the company from which promised me the vessels retreated," said Boris. "What? How could they?" shouted Mark. "Boris, you are a smart man. you would not have made a mistake in choosing a trustworthy company. What happened? Unlike Mark, Van was calm and collected and asked straight to the point. You are right, Van. The company which I hired for renting the vessels was won by a friend of mine, and he is not the one to backstab me like this," said Boris. "Are you implying that someone powerful had pressured him into breaking the contract? Do you know who it could be?" Van understood what Boris was trying to say, but he thought it was too far-fetched. Why would someone do that? Even though my friend did not say much, he did warn me to watch out for the Gemma Guild," Boris answered, pinching his forehead. "Gemma Guild? Why would they do that? Weren't they busy clearing a rank Venus rainforest field dungeon? Their hands are already filled with trying to clear the A-rank field dungeon. Why would they interfere with us?" Van did not get why would a guild like Gemma Guild target them. They did not seem to contradict each other in any way. "At first, I also thought the same thing until I saw the dungeon schedule for the B-rank Blue Blossom Lake Field dungeon. Turns out they are next on the schedule to use the B-rank Blue Blossom dungeon," Boris explained. "What's the point in this? The dungeon will automatically refresh after 3 weeks no matter the results of our dungeon expedition." Van was confused. What if they are next to use the dungeon? It will refresh after 3 weeks anyways. Why take such underhand methods to delay their dungeon expedition? "I know why, and that is the reason I hurriedly arranged these 10 shipping vessels and 110 cargo helicopters," said Boris with a brilliant smile on his face. "Wow! It seems to be something good. Then why so much drama, Guild Master Boris? Spit it out." Seeing Boris's facial expressions turn to excitement, Van slapped himself on his forehead and thought, "Boris, you chose the wrong career. You are a born actor, brother." 2 words. "Dungeon reversal," said Boris, stretching out 2 fingers. "Dungeon reversal. Dungeon reversal. Yes. My fellow guild masters, the B-rank Blue Blossom Lake Field dungeon will undergo dungeon reversal," said Boris excitedly. "Are you sure? What makes you think that the B-rank Blue Blossom Lake Field dungeon will undergo dungeon reversal?" Van did not let the excitement get to him. He remained rational and asked more about the dungeon reversal. "Dungeon reversal is a natural phenomenon that exclusively happens to field dungeons. In dungeon reversal, the field dungeon overlaps on another plane with sentient beings. There the field dungeon appears like a gate dungeon. Meaning the field dungeon will become a gate dungeon in some other world. When this happens, the people who entered the field dungeon to clear it will become the dungeon monsters and boss for the gate dungeon that appeared on the alien planet. The field dungeon becomes the gate dungeon and the adventurers become the dungeon monsters to protect the dungeon from the invasion of the sentient beings from the alien planet. Dungeon reversal has its advantages and disadvantages. But the advantages outweigh the disadvantages. Because new sentient species meaning new civilization means new unexplored and undiscovered knowledge. Every time a dungeon reversal has happened, it has been recorded in the course of history. Dungeon reversal has marked the rise of many people who gain various knowledge which does not exist in the current world. One can keep the knowledge obtained for himself or share it with the government for a handsome reward. Knowledge has always revolutionized the way humankind thinks for centuries, allowing it to be the top predator even in this apocalyptic world. Humankind has always been greedy for knowledge over power or wealth or anything else, allowing it to survive everything the world has to throw at it. Gemma Guild is one of the Sky Blossom City's topmost guild and also been rumored as the dog of the circle. It is so powerful that even the 3 guilds Sun Boars, Raven, and Tyrant Guild combined cannot compete with it. Being in higher standing has its privilege. Thanks to that, Gemma Guild knew that B-rank Blue Blossom Field dungeon was going to undergo dungeon reversal, but unfortunately the next in line to use the B-rank Blue Blossom Field dungeon were the 3 Sun Boars, Raven, and Tyrant allied guilds. Though the 3 Sun Boars, Raven, and Tyrant allied guilds were no match for the Gemma Guild, but currently Gemma Guild could not afford to clash head-on with the 3 guilds because most of their forces and guild leader were busy clearing A-rank Venus Rainforest Field dungeon. Dungeon reversal was too good for them to just let it go, so they decided to hinder the three Sun Boars, Raven, and Tyrant allied guilds from entering the field dungeon itself. In this way, they can enter the B-rank field dungeon next, without having to go through a fight with the three guilds, but who knew that their action would leak the info to Boris, who would rather take 10 antique shipping vessels and 110 cargo helicopters for the dungeon expedition than accept defeat. "How did you know that the B-rank Blue Blossom Lake Field dungeon is going to undergo dungeon reversal?" asked Van. "You must have heard of the deputy guild leader of the Gemma Guild who lost his shot as the Gemma Guild leader just because he was a bastard born to the ex-Gemma Guild leader. He leaked the news to me, but the cost was not cheap," Boris explained. Mark, who was quiet till now, finally spoke. "I get all this, but what I don't understand is why did you not rent floaters from other companies? There is no company that is willing to provide us with 10 small floater vessels at such short notice," explained Boris. "What about Fine Gold? They seem to have 700-something floater vessels," asked Mark. "Are you stupid or born dumb? Why would you want to invite a wolf to your own house? If that woman knew about the dungeon reversal, she would not care for rules and regulations. She will directly kill all of us to be able to enter the B-rank Blue Blossom Lake Field dungeon," shouted Van even before Boris. Chapter 87, Why? Time 21:57. When the three guild leaders were lost in the heat of the argument, there was a knock on the conference room door. "Knock. Knock. We are at our destination, guild masters," reported the guild member. "Good, gentlemen, let's stop our discussion here and win a fortune for ourselves, shall we?" said Boris, looking at the other two guild masters. "I can't agree with you more," Mark agreed, while Van calmly nodded and said, "Let's head to the deck." All three of the guild masters left the conference room and headed to the deck. Reaching the deck of the vessel, they looked down at the B-rank Blue Blossom Lake Field dungeon entrance. "Van, you were right. The southern part of the B-rank Blue Blossom Lake Field dungeon is less populated with monsters. The water is so still and calm, I thought it would be bubbling with monsters and beasts." Boris praised Van for his foresight. "No. The southern side of the dungeon is less guarded by the field monsters, but it is not this calm. It's as if there are no monsters in the lake," said Van, acting humble. "You too, isn't it because of the dungeon reversal? There aren't any monsters in the dungeon that are supposed to undergo dungeon reversal, and you call me dumb?" said Mark, feeling proud for noticing what Van and Boris did not notice. "You idiot!" shouted Boris and Van simultaneously. And Boris continued, "Other times you forget to use your brain, but out of all of those moments you choose right now to use your brain." Both Boris and Van knew why the B-rank Blue Blossom Lake Field dungeon was empty, but they acted as if they didn't because of the turbulent soul energy in the atmosphere, which caused them to be suspicious and cautious. Maybe they are not alone here. "Enemy attack! Sound the alarm! All hands on deck! Rise the shields!" The turbulent soul energy had sudden sharp change. Feeling this change in the surrounding soul energy, Van shouted hurriedly, but he was still too late. Boris felt the abnormalities in soul energy in the surrounding atmosphere. Maybe the abnormality is because of the dungeon reversal, he thought, but he was still on alert, and after listening to Van shout in panic, he directly summoned his grimoire and activated a card, Immovable Mountain. Pretty soon a huge golden mountain-shaped soul energy covered the complete shipping vessel he was standing on. Boom! One by one all the 9 vessels behind the lead shipping vessel were bombarded and blew up. The 99 cargo helicopters carrying them also met a similar fate after the shock of the sudden bombardment. Even 2 of the 11 cargo helicopters carrying the lead shipping vessel at the rear blew up in the aftershock, but thankfully the remaining 9 cargo helicopters could still lift the weight of the shipping vessel. Otherwise, even though the vessel survived from bombardment, it would be crushed, plummeting to the earth. "Targets in sight, awaiting order," reported a mysterious man dressed in a special combat force uniform while standing on the deck of a stealth floater speedster. "Hold the position," ordered the half-black half-white clown-masked man in a special combat force uniform while watching the surveillance feed in the convoy floater monitoring the 3 guild leaders who were talking on the deck. Sir, the cannons are powered up to 100%. Reported a logistic analyst. Good. Are the cannons locked on the targets? Asked the half-black half-white clown masked man. The analyst reported, cannons locked on the targets. Fire! Ordered the clown masked man. Reporting stats, 9 out of 10 targets down. Cannons reloading. Send the troops to take care of the survivors, I will take care of the last target. Ordered the clown masked man as he jumped off the convoy floater and summoning his grimoire he chanted, summon. Twin-winged cursed lizard. Roar. Mark. Boris. Get hold of yourselves. It's not time to mourn. Shouted Van, looking at his allies who looked like they had lost their soul watching their trusted comrades die an unjust death. Sarah. Shouted Boris as his bloodshot eyes looked at the wreckage of the shipping vessels that were free-falling to the ground. Sun bore possession. Mark activated his origin card and jumped off the shipping vessel towards the free-falling wreckage. Boris also wanted to jump off the vessel and search for his beloved Sarah, but he could not because once he moves the golden mountain-shaped soul energy protecting the vessel will be deactivated. Shit. All guild members hurry and save the survivors. Van cursed seeing Boris jump off the vessel and added, MF. Mark, come back. Sarah, she is. Fuck. I asked her not to come, that stubborn girl. Roar. The twin-winged cursed lizard roared, attracting the attention of Van and Boris. Clap clap asterisk. Do you regret coming on this expedition? The clown masked man standing on the head of the twin-winged cursed lizard clapped excitedly as if he was enjoying the firework display. You. Half-white half-black clown mask. You are from the circle. Why are you targeting us? We did not hurt any of the circle's interest, why? Roared Boris in despair. It was as if he saw the dead end in the half-black half-white clown mask. Your existence itself is a nuisance to the circle's interest. Said the clown masked man and continued, the circle gave you a chance but you dared to neglect it and rush to your grave in these antique shipping vessels. Is it because of the dungeon reversal? I was told the circle had no interest in exploring the dungeon reversal. Shouted Boris, as he was the one who got the info on B-rank Blue Blossom Lakefield dungeon reversal. According to his source, the circle was not interested in it, but the Gemma Guild was and had paid quite a lot of resources to keep the info hidden. But nobody can order a clown mask except for the circle. I don't know, I am just a hunting hound who kills whomever my master points at, no questions asked. Said the clown masked man. But why? Boris screamed, not being able to comprehend where he went wrong. He did not feel much if he and his comrades fell here because they were adventurers and prepared for their death, but Sarah. She was innocent and yet to see the world, she did not deserve to die here. Enough, Boris, get it together. Forget about Sarah. Call Mark back, we both are not his match, maybe together we can stand a chance. Said Van, stressing with eyes, but Boris was too agitated to get his signal. How could you say that? In the midway of his shout, Boris finally read Van's eyes and what they were trying to signal. And continued, you bastard, that girl loved you more than her blood relative, but, once this crisis is over I will settle the scores with you. Good. Let's do that. Now call that idiot Mark back. I will try to buy us some time. Seeing that Boris finally got his signal, Van ordered Boris to call Mark while he engaged the hostile. I do not know what you are planning, but you are correct, you two are not worth my time, maybe 3 of you together can barely scratch the surface of my power. I will wait for you to call your bear of a comrade. The clown mask did not take the 3 guild leaders seriously, their power combined was not enough to threaten him. He was bored waiting in the base and finally got a chance to come out. He wants to enjoy his time out, so the only way to do that is to prolong his mission as much as possible. Hearing the clown masked man, both Van and Boris felt belittled, but they endured their shame because they both combined were not an opponent of the clown masked man and their only option was to get rid of him with the help of Mark. Boris was busy contacting Mark, but under the sun bore possession Mark's intelligence decrease, making Mark more of a beast than a human, causing difficulty for Boris to contact Mark. Time 22:07. Grandpa, stop it right now, otherwise I will not speak to you for my entire life. Corey threatens William in the only way she could think of. William's wrath or curiosity had not yet been satisfied, because the more he toyed with the ant at his feet, the more it dared to struggle, unlike other ants who accept their fate. This makes William more angry and curious about the ant. Angry because he, the lord of the Bright family, could not take care of a card student, and curious cause there was something mysterious about this ant that gave it the strength to fight its fate. This was so much fun, but because of his beloved granddaughter, he had to leave this ant alone for now. What am I doing, Corey? I am innocent, ask him. I was just teaching him how to behave, that's all. To think one day my beloved granddaughter would threaten me for a boy. Corey did not care for her grandfather's words and directly rushed to Wyatt and helped him up to sit on the couch. Seeing this, William's nerves popped. Wyatt could feel the killing intent William, so he hurriedly sat and let go of Corey's support. Just when Wyatt let go of Corey and distanced himself from her and sat on the couch, a figure suddenly appeared out of thin air in the warehouse right above Wyatt. Except for William, no one was aware of the figure which suddenly appeared above Wyatt. The figure neared unguarded Wyatt at a fast speed, but William ignored it as he already wanted to kill this bastard who made his granddaughter threaten him, so Wyatt's life was none of his concern. Chapter 88, Demigod's Bestowal. Time 22:09. Bang. Arg. WTF. After facing the soul splitting, I was already exhausted mentally and needed to rest. So distancing from Corey, I made myself comfortable on the couch when suddenly out of thin air an 80-pound something fell on top of me. Shouting in pain, I pushed the thing off me, only to be dumbfounded knowing what the thing was. Not just me, Susan, Ronnie, and Corey were perplexed. How can something just appear out of thin air and fall on top of someone indoors? So they suspiciously looked at William, especially Corey. She was already very disgruntled about what her grandfather did earlier. But when they saw what the thing was, they no longer knew what was happening. Seeing the trio gaze at him suspiciously, William spread his hands and shook his head as if telling them he was innocent, and was dejected that his granddaughter suspected him. Other than that, he was disappointed that the figure in black was not here to assassinate Wyatt. Wyatt, you okay? Susan asked in concern. After all, an 80-pound something just crashed onto him. I am fine. Who the hell is that? How did she get in here? I said, looking at the teenage girl in a black bodysuit. She was the 80-pound something who fell on me. I think my ribs were bruised due to the crash. Susan, Ronnie, and Corey also wanted the answers to those questions. You are asking the wrong questions. What you should be asking is, why did she fall on top of you instead of the rest of us here? That will also answer the rest of your questions," said William, looking at Wyatt with great interest. Today was an interesting night for him, as he met a very interesting and special ant. To think that the fated encounter chose an ant out of all the powerful and capable people in the Sky Blossom City. It seems the destiny of this ant has something great in stores for him. Old man, since you know what is happening, why not just explain the situation to us? I told William. To which he replied with a snarky, playful smile pasted across his ugly mug. At first, I thought it was just a coincidence that the girl fell on me, but hearing Old Man William, it seems it was more than just a coincidence. Old Man William should know what is happening here, but looking at his playful smile, it seems he will not just tell me everything he knows. Thankfully I had his kryptonite on my side. Corey looked at her grandpa with puppy eyes and pleaded, "Grandpa, please. I will make mashed potatoes for you." William's playful smile melted, forming a warm smile, but looking at my victorious glint in my eyes, he grunted. But no matter how displeased he was with me, he could not say no to his granddaughter over a petty grudge, so he explained, "You children should have read the stories about princess/prince in trouble living a pitiful life suddenly encounter a prince/princess who rescues them from their miserable life. That one encounter turned their fates entirely. That encounter is termed as fated encounter. What if I were to say that there is a card for the fated encounter? There are many children fairy tales where the prince/princess is put under a curse to sleep for eternity or live as an ugly animal or beast, but when the said prince/princess have their fated encounter they can change their miserable fate just like that to live happily ever after. Too overpowered but not surprising for a fairy tale. What? There is such a card? Corey exclaimed, astonished by the info she just got. I was also astonished and frightened, to be completely honest. Just when I think I have seen the limits of the cards, I am slapped on the face with a reality check. How can such a card exist? What ingredients and knowledge would one require to create such a card? Even if that card is possible, wouldn't it be priceless? Looking at the girl, she is just at the card soldier realm. How can she afford such a card, or is her identity special to use such a card? I had too many questions to ask, but I suppressed them to ask once William was done explaining, cause I had felt the more I showed interest in this, the more tight-lipped William will be. Grandpa, tell me more about the card, asked Corey. Being a real-life princess, the fated encounter card fueled her curiosity. Though she was trying to change and experience life, bad habits are hard to get rid of. Since his princess wants to know, William could only oblige and illustrated the fated encounter card info. Card name, Fated Encounter. Card type, Demigods bestowed card, passive. Card rank, C rank, uncommon grade. Card rating, 4-star. Card durability, 100/100. Card effect, this card is bestowed to Irene George VI by romantic card demigod. When the host receives imminent life-ending damage, he/she will be teleported within 10,000 miles to a person who can positively change their fate. Additional effect, when the card is activated, the host will be healed completely of any injury or debuff. Restriction 1. The card can only be used by Irene George VI, her descendants and people trusted by them. 2. If no person can positively affect the host's life within 10,000 miles, the host will randomly be transported to the safest place within the range. 3. This card can only be used one time by one person in his entire life. Caution: card cannot be used by people with negative emotions from Irene George VI or her descendants or people trusted by them. If forcefully used, there is a probability of gaining the attention of romantic demigod. The current known descendant of Irene George VI is Van George, the current guild leader of Tyrant Guild. You guys are lucky I was here, because except for the Tyrant Guild leader, I am the only person in Sky Blossom to know about this card. This was supposed to be a secret between me and him, but seeing how the card has been used, there is no point in keeping it a secret. Boosted William and added, he pawned this card to me when he first came to Sky Blossom City to open his guild. Van George is not an original resident of Sky Blossom City, but a refugee who fled to the city when his home was destroyed in a dungeon break. Starting a new life in Sky Law City, he wanted to open a guild here, but he needed a lot of money for that, so to gain the capital to establish his guild, Van pawned the fated encounter to the Lord of the Bright family. The card had many restrictions to it, but since Van had willingly entrusted the card to William, William found no reasons to give up on such a treasure. William then sighed, and looking at Corey he said, I wanted to gift this card to you when you contracted the silver grimoire, but Van finally paid his debt by then and had retrieved the card. If not for the restriction, alas. While William was explaining the card, Susan explained the situation to Jackie, who was hiding in the kitchen, and arranged the unconscious girl in the bedroom. And even brought a few cushions for me to rest comfortably. Seeing Susan's action, William was puzzled and asked her, why are you tending to the unknown girl? Just hand her to the enforcers, it will save you from a lot of trouble. William was a well-known and respected figure. Susan did not know how to answer him without being rude to him. How could she explain to him that she would not just abandon a person in need without her words being taken as rude? If she said that, it would mean she is implying that William is heartless. Old man, aren't you forgetting something? This is our place. We decide how we do things here. I said directly to William's face. This asshole was one cruel SOB. You sliced my soul in anger, I understand that, but slice it to the end. Due to the interruption of Corey, William did not completely slice a small part of my soul, but he left halfway through. If he had sliced apart the soul completely, I could consume a soul jade to regrow the sliced part of the soul, an expensive yet easy remedy. But he only did it halfway, leaving a tear in my soul. Now I had to mend my soul to heal the tear, which is a very painful process but cheap. Now that I think about it, may be intentional, because if he wanted to he could just slice it off within seconds, even with the interruption from Corey, but he did not do so. Instead he chose to leave halfway, leaving a tear in my soul knowingly. William, you conniving old bastard. I had many questions like, what is demigod's bestowal? What are the ingredients used to make this card? Why is it just an uncommon grade card even with such overpowered stats? What does the card mean by gaining the attention of the demigod? Chapter 89, Pawn. Time 23:17. Now that was one awkward dinner. I wanted to reward myself with a nice dinner and chilling beer after a productive day, but a few uninvited guests made it awkward. But thankfully beer is perfect for any situation. Your parents getting divorced, here have a beer. Your girlfriend broke up with you, here have a beer. Your cheating husband gave you an STD, here have a beer. You hot for you cousin, here have a beer. Your boss screwed you over, here have a beer. Man. Beer does fix everything, I said, throwing the crushed beer can into the bin. What? I ain't afraid of you, old man. Man, for someone who is tamed by a card for decades, you sure have a lot of pride. William was glaring at me, maybe because Corey gave more priority to my appetite than her grandfather. Not just Corey, even Susan and Jackie made a plate for me together. The macaroni and cheese and grilled meat sandwich were good, but mashed potatoes were a bit overdone. Overall the dinner was satisfying, except for William giving me the death gaze the whole time. I did not shy away because of one weird look. I became more proactive, adding fuel to William's jealousy as the old man had to behave in front of his granddaughter. And did not forget to bring up the topic of William's origin card once again. During the dinner, even Corey personally recommended me and boasted about my card creation to William, but he did not seem to budge. I tried taunting him, gambling with him, gaining his recognition, even used Corey, but nothing seems to work. I had huge plans for my second origin card. In a way it is a bit overpowered thanks to the Dungeon Calamity Seed. But after knowing about the features of William's origin card, I wanted to add it to my origin card. Especially how his card had independent conscious. Many cards have beast will or artificial will, but these will are only active when the card Apprentice is using them, but William's card is active on its own. I want this feature of William's origin card because I wanted a card that did not need me to tell what to do, but it would actively work for my betterment. Think of a card that is watching over and protecting me 24/7. Yeah, of course, the card has other powerful effects, otherwise I wouldn't call it overpowered. For this feature, I wanted to explore William's origin card under the ruse of helping him create a card to control his origin card, but this old man is too stubborn. No matter what I do, he doesn't even consider my offer. Unless there is something about the card that makes William not even consider my offer. What can it be? Is there any other restriction to the card? Yes, there has to be. No wonder this old fellow refused without even considering my offer. This restriction must be something others can use against him, otherwise he would not try to hide it from the public. If nobody knows about the restriction, then nobody can use it against him. These damned sly foxes. Now I know why the elders of the Bright family did not hesitate to reveal William's origin card info. They were helping William by covering the complete restrictions of his origin card using incomplete but true card info. Now that everyone knows that William's origin card has him satisfy weird conditions, whenever William acts out of the ordinary, all of it will be credited as conditions put forward by his origin card, and never will anybody doubt that maybe there is more to William's origin card than told. Maybe many leaders in the city suspect that there is more to William's origin card, but they will never know until they forcefully take the matter into their hands. Now that I knew why William would not budge regarding his origin card, I no longer wasted my breath on him. My only concerns right now were gathering capital for my second origin card creation, then Uncle and Auntie Wyatt and the unknown girl currently lying unconscious in my new bed, and her fated encounter card. Especially the card type Demigod's Bestowal I had never heard or read of till now. Since I knew that the girl had something to do with the Tyrant Guild Master, I will send her packing to the Tyrant Guild after she regains consciousness and tells me more about the card. As for Uncle and Auntie Wyatt, I could only wait and hope that they reach here safely. Now all that remains is raising capital for my second origin card, but the best way to raise capital currently was to pawn a soul jade, and I happen to have a pawn star glaring at me right now. It's nice when everything works out in your favor. Old man, since you are not up for it, let's forget about the gamble. How about we make another deal? Deal, kiddo, deals are made between equals. Now tell me, do you think you are equal to me? William sneered. Wyatt's words sounded like a child acting adult to him, not to mention what can an orphan high schooler offer to interest him? No. You are right, we are not. How can I, a young card creationist with a limitless future, be the same as an arrogant old man with a leg in the coffin? But I don't mind being on the losing side since you are Corey's grandfather. I should have thought of pawning a soul jade earlier, but I had to try my hand on William's origin card. Fuck. How about I cut your limitless future right here? Right now. Brat, do not test my patience. After all, Corey will not be there every time to help. You got to sleep sometime. That is when I am used to hunting the damned beasts. William had enough of it. This ant was talented, but he has seen many talented ants get quashed before they even matured. Damn it, old man. If you keep threatening me, I will just marry your granddaughter for good. Believe me, I will. That's it? I had it with you. I will slice your soul into 1,000 slices. Don't worry, it will be slow and painful. Grandpa? Stop it. What? What am I doing? William looked at his granddaughter aggrieved and in disbelief. That jerk just told me he will marry you and I am the bad guy here. Melinda was right, my granddaughter is unfilial. Speaking of Melinda, didn't she say Corey is in good company? Did she not see how shameless this bastard is? What I was worried about for years is not far from coming true. Grandpa just listens to what Wyatt has to say. Please for me, okay, said Corey, holding the hands of her grandpa. William's mouth twitched as he thought, no, my worries have already come true. Holding his granddaughter's hand tighter, he said, be quick, I am very busy. Everyone in the room rolled their eyes, as a busy person wouldn't bicker with someone 1/3 of his age for hours. Okay, I will also stop playing the game and come straight to the point. I am short on cash and want to pawn a soul jade with you for cash. I said, since testing the water to save myself the embarrassment of being rejected was not working. $100 million, that's my offer, anything more I am out. Don't think because of my granddaughter I will just give you money. Usually, I do not do small deals like these, but considering that you are my granddaughter's colleagues, I will help this once. Said William with a grunt, showing his disband for me openly. Okay. I promise to return the money within a week. Don't get comfy with my soul jade, I promised sincerely, as William was doing me a favor here. Brat, this jade is just a grade 1 soul jade, Grandpa here owns tens of grade 1 mine. William smirked. Now that I had enough funds for the creation of my second card, I did not want to waste any and get to the card creation, but considering the gravity of the card towards my strength, I decided to revise the plan again and proceed with card creation when I am at my peak condition mentally and physically. It's a pity that I did not get to explore the mystery behind William's origin card, but it was not going to happen anyway, cause even I wouldn't trust an orphan high schooler with something so important to me, no matter how talented he was. It was already nearing midnight. Sason and Corey decided to head home. Surprisingly, William offered to escort Susan home. Of course, Corey will be tagging along too. Since that mysterious girl was sleeping on my bed, I had to head home too, but considering the bounty on Ronnie's head, we decided to order 2 beds at the mall, which were delivered right then since we are practically living at the mall. Yes, we were spending the night at the warehouse considering Ronnie's safety. While I was about to sleep, my grimoire sounded with a notification. You have received a message from William Bright. Open/mark as read/delete. Chapter 90, Price to Pay. Date March 23, 2321. Time 0012. Cindy rushed to the penthouse office hurriedly as she shouted, "Madam! Not good. I just got devastating news from all of our spies in all three Raven, Sunboar and Tyrant guilds." Diana, who was going through some papers, still calmly read the papers regardless of the commotion created by Cindy. Still reading the documents, Dinah asked in a casually calm and relaxed manner, "What is it, Cindy? Did the three guilds cancel their expedition to the B-rank Blue Blossom Lakefield dungeon?" "No, madam, quite the opposite. The expedition forces of all three guilds were massacred on their way to the B-rank Blue Blossom Lakefield dungeon an hour ago. The guild leaders of the Raven Guild and the Sunboar Guild were also butchered, while the guild leader of the Tyrant Guild is missing." Diana finally lifted her head in shock. This news was important and devastating enough for the fine gold who were planning on procuring these guilds. So she hurriedly asked, "Were there any survivors?" To clear the B-rank Blue Blossom Lakefield dungeon, 2/3 of each of the guild's members participated in the expedition. Most of these guild members participating in the expedition were the pro and elite of their respective guilds. If 2/3 of the guild population and elites were massacred, what's the use of acquiring these three guilds? Instead of bolstering her new guild by swallowing the three guilds, she will end up supporting the three guilds. No. Madam, everyone participating in the expedition was massacred, except for the Tyrant Guild leader who is missing." Cindy finally regained her calm after reporting the turn of events at the latest. "Any clues to what happened?" asked Diana, thinking that thankfully I did not decide to start with three guilds right the moment after they left for expedition, otherwise people would think I killed the allied expedition to procure their guild, making me and fine gold scapegoat for the real murderer. The investigation is still going on and the City Lord Mansion will be conducting the investigation while the Guild Association will assist in all and every way possible. But early reports say that evidence of floater soul cannons and cursed flame was found at the scene of the crime. Cindy without a delay reported all the incident reports collected till the present. Hearing the incident report, Diana, who was verifying the documents, casually calm and relaxed manner till now, finally showed a hint of fear on her face as she thought, "Was it them? It has to be them. Who else is powerful enough in the city to ambush and massacre the three guilds within hours? Wait. Cursed fire, is it her? No doubt. What were they thinking to release her? I gotta leave town right now." Cindy, who had finally regained calm once again, felt nervous and anxious seeing the rarely seen fear on Diana's face. She has been working for Diana for more than a decade now and had rarely seen fear on her face, and the only reason Diana would show fear is that the matter at hand had to be somehow related with the Circle. Why would the Circle want the three guilds dead? Why does it scare Diana? "Cindy, ready my private floater, we are leaving this god-forsaken city, ASAP. Hurry, inform Jaya, and you two leave what you are doing and follow me. We should leave the city within the next few minutes," Diana ordered Cindy as he started to collect all the documents scattered on her desk into her storage item. "Where to, madam?" asked Cindy, to be thorough. "Anywhere as long as we leave the city. Hurry. Before that old bitch shows up," Diana shouted frantically at Cindy. The situation was dire, they had to flee unless it was too late. "I finally was permitted to go outside after a long time and decided to visit my dear disciple, but did not think that my only disciple thought so less of me to flee the city to avoid her master." An ethereal voice sounded in the penthouse office. Hearing this sound, Diana's knees weakened and her body trembled in fright for a second, but soon the fear was masked by an icy cold calm expression. Cindy was shocked. She looked all around the room but could not find who spoke the words. Unable to find the source of the sound, she was scared, but fear would not save her, so she boldly asked, "Whoever you are, this is fine gold property, please leave your trespassing." Hearing Cindy, Diana's brows frowned. "Fool, are you doing this on purpose?" But her frown tightened even more as she saw Cindy's head fly in the air, spraying the office glass wall red with her blood, while her body collapsed to the floor as blood sprayed out of her neck like a fountain. "Just a cheap imitation clone and dares to teach me the rules. The Sky Blossom City is the Circle's property. I can go anywhere I want." said the ethereal voice as a figure wearing a black bodysuit walked out of the shadows and the figure's face was covered with half-white and half-black clown mask. Diana did not react to Cindy's beheading as this body was just one of Cindy's clones and also thought that Cindy deserved it since she knowingly taunted the existence which she could not defeat. Diana decided to teach Cindy a lesson she would never forget if she were to survive this night. Diana, long time no see, I see you still do not hide or cure your scars, as stubborn as always I see, said the clown-masked person as she comfortably sat on one of the visitors' chairs. Master, were you hiding in the shadows to make an entry? How typical of you, but did you have to kill them all, was there no other way? Asked Diana as she sat on her chair. Nope. You broke the circle's direct order. Somebody had to pay. It cannot be you since you are still useful to the circle, so it had to be them to stop you from proceeding with your plans. You know how it works, or have you forgotten, sitting in this fancy penthouse office of yours? Said the clown-masked person nonchalantly. Then why are you here? You went against the circle's direct orders, though the circle needs you and will not harm you. On the other hand, that alien cub you adopted as your sister. Chapter 91, Coming of Age Ceremony. Time 0021. You went against the circle's direct orders, then you need to face the consequences for it, though the circle needs you and will not harm you. On the other hand, that alien cub you adopted as your sister. The circle was always against you adopting her as your sister. Now you have given us a reason to get rid of her, said the clown-masked person, crossing her legs, being seated on the chair and leaning forward on the table. She looked for changes in Diana's micro-expression. Why? Why don't you just leave that child alone? You have massacred her entire tribe, isn't that enough? She doesn't know a thing and will never know. Leave her out of this. Haven't you taken enough from her? Said Diana with a weak voice. Was Diana pretending to be weak or really afraid? As her teacher, only the clown-masked person knew. Her tribe. Those brutes massacred half of their tribe themselves to decide on a leader. Even with their numbers decreased to half, still their power was not something that the circle or the guild association could handle, not to mention their tribe chief, whose power was equal to a card overlord. If not for them just charging in without any plan but just their brute strength, do you think we could massacre them? Even though they looked human, everything else about them screamed monster. Why am I telling you all this? You were there, heck, you were the MVP of that carnage. The circle even rewarded you with a single wish. You could have asked for anything in the world. Even your freedom, but you asked to raise the alien cub as your adopted sister, pissing off the hand that controlled your existence. If not for that, what am I expecting? After all, you are a failed product. You know they would never let me leave. If I had asked for my freedom, that day would be my last day in this world. After all, there is a saying in the circle that only when one is dead one is truly free, said Diana. She knew there is no escaping from the circle unless she is dead. As for her master calling her failed product, Diana did not take it to heart because considered it as a compliment coming from her. You are smart. Good to know you are not nurturing any foolish hopes of freedom, otherwise I would have to kill you like the rest. Continue like this and you may even survive the coming of age ceremony. You do know why you're my only disciple, right? Diana did not answer her master, not because she did not know the answer, but the answer was too bloody to talk about. Coming of age ceremony. After their initiation, every member who survived till now has to go through the ceremony to become the true member of the circle. In the circle, there is this tradition where the existing core members take in disciples through the initiation process, and after 20 years of active service to the circle, these disciples undergo the coming of age ceremony to become the true members of the circle, but almost no one survives the ceremony. Not because they are not strong enough, but because they are not loyal enough and willing to live for the circle. For climbing the circle, strength was secondary, whereas loyalty was primary. As long as you are loyal enough, the circle would provide you with the necessary strength. The ceremony is very mysterious, as every disciple that survived the 20 years knew that the ceremony was all about their loyalty to the circle, but no matter how prepared they were, those that passed the ceremony could be counted on a single hand. But this problem was far away than the one sitting right in front of her, so Diana said, "I heard you are taking in a new disciple this year. Knowing you and your initiation exam, she will require a start-up fund and a company. How about I donate the capital I was planning on using to acquire the 3 guilds and the new guild I just established for you to look the other way?" Diana's time to participate in the ceremony was still far away, but her current problem was to save her beloved sister from her master's hand. Though her master was strong, she was very poor and weak when it comes to making money. Diana remembers how she had to struggle during her initiation process due to a lack of funds. People think Diana's initiation required her to massacre the city's underground organizations, but the real initiation only required her to form her own force with 10,000 members and start a successful company. The funds for these 10,000 members should have been provided by Diana's master, but she did not, as she had no money. So Diana took it upon herself to gather the funds by looting the underground organizations. Underground organizations were hard to bully, so it turned into a one-sided onslaught. As for the Fine Gold's original owner, he has threatened to hand over the ownership of the company to Diana for pennies. "You always knew how to negotiate, that is why I valued you so much. If not for the alien cub that you adopted, I was planning on recommending you as a true member of the circle, but alas. This time you cannot buy your way out, Diana. Just yesterday you paid 5 D rank and 1 C rank dungeon in exchange for her life. Her time in this world is up," said the clown-faced mask as she got up from the chair. With a sigh she added, "Is it worth though, Diana, risking your future for an alien cub only to end her life in this way?" Diana, who was acting weak, suddenly summoned her grimoire and shouting, "It was worth it?" She activated her origin card. Chapter 92, Phantom Fleet. Time 0029. As soon as Diana activated her origin card, the roof of the penthouse blew up as 15 huge phantom warships floating in the air surrounded the penthouse. The cannons on the warships moved to aim at the clown-masked person, while a phantom warship slowly surfaced from the floor under Diana, carrying her to join the rest of the warships. Diana was standing at the forecastle of the warship looking down at her master, and she shouted, "It is worth it, and I am willing to risk my life for hers." "Diana, you are the only problem disciple I had to teach till date. Why do you have to be like this? Why can't you be like the others and just docile follow the circle's arrangement?" said the clown-masked person. She could have killed Diana even before the warships aimed at her, but she could not act without orders of the circle, and Diana was her target to protect, not kill. Aren't the Wyatt couple example enough? Weren't they docile and followed the circle's arrangement only to end up being hunted and killed by the circle? They would not even let their only child live in peace. Master, just because you are the hunting dog of the circle doesn't mean you will not have the same fate as the rest of us. Now leave, do not give me a reason to blow you up. Diana gave an ultimatum. Everybody knows that the circle does not treat its members as humans but as mere tools to dispose of when the said tools lose their worth. Haha, you are right. Just because I am the hunting dog of the circle doesn't mean I will not have the same fate as the rest of you. But I don't care. I just love the hunt, and maybe the hunt would be more interesting if I were the prey, don't you think? The clown-masked person shouted excitedly, as if she really thought that the hunt would be more interesting if she was the prey. If not the mask hiding her face, one could see that just the idea of her being prey in a hunt turned her on and almost gave her an orgasm. "No, master. If you are involved in the hunt you would automatically become the predator," said Diana, to which her master agreed and said, "You are right, I am just too damned strong." It may sound like bragging, but Diana knew better. Her master was really strong, especially the cursed fire of her master's origin card summoned twin-winged cursed lizard. By now everyone in the Fine Gold Sky Blossom branch was alerted of an assassination attempt on their chairman. The security started to follow the protocol but were stopped by Cindy, saying that, "The chairman is just negotiating, do not disturb her, you will only get in her way." The Fine Gold staffs believed in the strength of their chairman and words of their managing director, but they were having a hard time deciding whose order to follow, as they were led by Jaya, the heir of the company. Should they listen to the managing director or the only heir? They felt like walking on eggshells. "Cindy, you witch, I knew you were up to no good from the start. Are you planning a coup colluding with foreign forces to take over the fine gold? Blame Jaya. You know Jaya, there is a saying that words are more powerful than fists. Today I understood what it meant. Thank you for helping me understand that. As for your baseless accusations, if I were colluding with the enemy for a coup, then wouldn't I have killed you the heir first for a hassle-free succession? Cindy knew that she had her differences with Jaya because while rising Jaya, Diana only knew to spoil Jaya, and she ended up as the one disciplining Jaya. Hearing Cindy's words, Jaya gritted her teeth and looked at the staff. She knew she had less status in the company compared to Cindy, but today she finally knew how less her status was, as none of the staff were willing to follow her orders and leadership in a time of crisis. Letting out a snort, Jaya said, "Fine. I will go alone then," and rushed to the penthouse office. "Diana, you know just this is not enough to force me to back the hell up. Come, you are smarter than that. A fleet of phantom warships may slow her down, but not enough to threaten her." With the numerous escape cards in her grimoire, the clown-masked person was confident enough to escape the encirclement of the phantom warship fleet and return to kill Jaya when Dinah's origin card was in cooldown. "Master, you underestimate me. 15 years is a long time. I have learned from my mistakes. Do not force me." Saying that, Diana forwarded an image file to her master's grimoire. The clown person opened the file only to see an image of 2 cards with their card info. In shock she said, "Looks like you have indeed learned from your mistakes. These cards do fix the shortcomings and even strengthen your origin card, but it is still not difficult for me to kill you and then complete my mission. Come on, master. Who are you kidding? Without the circle's orders, you won't harm a single hair on my body, let alone kill me. As for your mission, isn't it just a sham to warn me?" said Diana, catching her master's bluff. "Okay. I will leave, but I will be expecting you to transfer the funds and the guild to me soon," said the clown-masked person. She had to compromise since it would be impossible even for her to kill Jaya while defending against Diana and her phantom fleet. She was a brute, but even she knew not to underestimate Diana's prowess. 15 years ago Diana could already threaten her, but now maybe it was possible for Diana to even kill her. Who knows what cards she was hiding, that is if she was only allowed to defend, not attack. Good. Diana nodded in agreement with her master. Diana did grow stronger in the past 15 years, but so did her master, so it's good that the dispute was settled peacefully. Roar. Summoning her twin-winged cursed lizard, the clown-masked person left, and seeing that, Diana sighed in relief. If she had to fight her master, Diana had the confidence to kill her master, but it meant revealing her powers and alerting the circle. Alerting Chronicles could only end with her demise. Chapter 93, Stubborn. Time 0045. WTF are you doing here? Where is Cindy? Why are you not with her? Shouted Diana as she looked at Jaya, who just rushed to the penthouse office using her Viltronian fight ability, leaving behind all her bodyguards. "Sister. You're fine. I was so worried," cried Jaya, confirming Diana was fine and well. She dove into Diana's embrace to hug her sister, only to be slapped hard on the face. Slap. What the hell are you thinking? Why did you not follow Cindy's orders? Answer me. Have you gone dumb? Seeing her sister not answer and knowing her stubborn nature, Diana knew what must have conspired. Jaya must have disobeyed Cindy's direct orders and must have rushed here for her rescue. Thankfully Master had left already, but what if Jaya had shown up when she was negotiating with her master? Master would not have hesitated to kill Jaya right then and there, while Diana could do nothing but watch. Being slapped hard by Diana, Jaya was muddled and confused. Diana's strength behind the slap was very strong for even Jaya's Viltronian body to handle, and it took a while for Jaya to be clear-headed again, and in confusion, she looked at Diana and asked, "Why? Why? Fuck. You still don't know? Looks like I have pampered you too much." Screaming at Jaya, Diana flew in raga and started to thrash Jaya without holding back. In the process, she broke Jaya's left leg and 2 ribs. It was at this moment Jaya realized Diana was not kidding around, there was killing intent oozing out of her. At first, Jaya did not resist. She knew that there was only one person in this world that truly loved her and cared for her, and that person is her sister. She did not know why her sister was angry at her, but she knew she did it out of love and care. But still, it felt frustrating to be a punching bag. Now she understood how her classmates felt being her punch bag. But she was not her classmates. She will not take a beating, hands down, be it someone else or her sister. She will fight even if it kills her. With that resolve, Jaya balled up her fist and hit Diana on the right cheek with all she got. Diana, who did not expect this, was knocked off Jaya's body. "Come at me with all you got, I will not back down," shouted Jaya. If her sister was going to kill her, then fine, as she can do too little about it, but if she has to go down, then she will go down in the most glorious way possible. "Good," said Diana, and the very next second Jaya's 4 limbs were missing and her guts were hanging out. Viltronian body is very durable. Even after all this damage, Jaya was still alive, and Jaya's will also was very tenacious as she held onto her consciousness and glared at Diana as blood poured out of her ears, nose, and eyes. As for her tongue, it was minced, caught between her teeth. "Fuck. You are not even strong enough for me to get the satisfaction of killing you. Other than your stubbornness and ignorance, what do you have? Nothing. And with this strength, you rushed to rescue me. WTF were you thinking? When are you going to grow up? Just yesterday I paid 5 D rank and 1 C rank dungeon for your life, and today I paid all the money we gathered for the JK account. I paid it all for your life again. Fuck. Don't leave the fine gold until you reach card master level." Diana then looked at the collapsed roof near the elevator and said, "Come out, you bitch. I am going out to take care of some stuff. Drag this Dumku *T to the healing center, and as for you, if your real body does not report to me after I return, then I will hunt it myself and make an evening out of it." From the shadows of the collapsed roof by the elevator, Cindy's figure appeared and she said, "I was just kidding. Why do you have to get all worked up? She did not kill you, right, and also left quite peacefully." Diana rolled her eyes and said, "I am heading out, jumping onto the forecastle of the Phantom warship," and then a total of 16 Phantom warships left the fine gold property, heading outside to the dungeon area. The perk of Diana's origin card is that the Phantom ships will stay infinitely once summoned until they are damaged or deactivated by the summoner, but they have also a very large cooldown period. As Diana left, Cindy looked at what's left of Jaya and said, "What are you glaring at? When will you quit being stubborn and grow up? Your sister had sacrificed so much for you." Shaking her head, Cindy dragged Jaya's mutilated body by her hair and entered the elevator, heading to the healing center. Time 1:02. Location: Sky Blossom City, C rank dungeon, metal mystery. Since she had summoned her warship fleet anyway, it would be a waste to just return them. Instead, she decided to pay back the circle for their generous care. C rank dungeon metal mystery is the dungeon that Diana offered to the circle just yesterday in exchange for Jaya's life, along with other 5 D rank dungeons. As Diana and her fleet entered the dungeon, the Metal Knights, the indigenous monsters of the Metal Mystery dungeon, attacked her and the fleet with javelins and arrows, but clearly, it was useless. The cannons on the fleet took care of the monsters with ease, and Diana headed to the dungeon boss room. The dungeon boss was also a Metal Knight, but he was 5 feet tall than the regular 3 feet tall Metal Knight. He was taken care of faster than the monster wave outside. Killing the dungeon boss, the core of the dungeon was revealed. Next to the core there were 10 E rank, 4 D rank and 2 C rank soul jades. Without caring for the soul jades, the cannons on the Phantom warship moved to aim at the dungeon core. Just as the cannon were to fire, a half-white half-black clown-masked person appeared next to the core. Diana halted her cannons and the clown-masked person shouted, "What are you doing? Have you gone mad? They should not have threatened me with my sister. Let this be my warning to them." With that, the cannons fired at the core, shattering it into pieces. Chapter 94, Fornicators. Time 0018. The beds had arrived. Placing beds at opposite corners of the warehouse, I and the couple slept on our respective beds, and just when I was about to fall asleep I received a notification from my grimoire indicating that William had sent me a message. I was surprised since William was here just minutes ago. If he had anything to say he should have then. Did that perverted old man send a message warning me to stay away from his granddaughter? Open with my thoughts, I directed my grimoire to open the message. Since you have inherited your mother's gift, then you will also inherit her fate. Things are not what they seem, be prepared, they will come for you as they did for your parents. Reading the message, at first I thought, what is this old fool babbling about? After giving it thought, more serious questions appeared in my head. How did he know I had inherited my mother's gifts? What did he mean by my parents' fate and things are not what they seem? And who is coming for me? Except for the school principal Andrea, no one thought that I inherited my mother's gifts, much less contracting her grimoire. So how did William come to think I had inherited my mother's gifts? Maybe it's because of earlier when I discovered William, who was hiding in the warehouse using my soul pupils. Did he mistake my soul pupils for aura sight, as it could also spot him hiding through his aura? That would explain why William thought I inherited my mother's gift. Then what did he mean by my parents' fate and things are not what they seem? The only conclusion I could come to was that the death of Mama and Papa Wyatt is not as simple as an adventure accident, but there seems to be more than what meets the eye. Fuck. Is William telling that Mama and Papa Wyatt were murdered unjustly during their adventure mission? And then who are these people I should be wary of? Are they the ones who murdered Mama and Papa Wyatt? Killing my parents was not enough, now they even want to kill me. Wait for a second, according to William, if I had not inherited my mother's gift, these people would not have targeted me. Is Mama Wyatt's gift show how at the center of all this conspiracy? Did Mama Wyatt know this would happen? Even though she knew, why did she still use the secret technique to leave behind her inheritance for young Wyatt? What was she thinking? Hold on, Mama Wyatt may have never thought of the possibility that young Wyatt would inherit the same gift as her, as odds of that happening was near zero. But to hide my soul pupils, I made use of aura sight as cover, alerting the people behind Mama and Papa Wyatt's murder. So I put myself in this messy situation. But it's better than people knowing about my soul pupils, as it would bring me a much worse, devastating fate. I think I should look into Mama and Papa Wyatt's adventure mission and the incident and casualty report related to it. I may get a better picture of what might have transpired. But before I go poking the hornet's nest, I think I should get stronger and be prepared to take on my parents' enemies. Or I could directly ask William about it, but seeing how cryptic and vague he was in his message, it seems he did not want to get involved in this matter, so it would be a waste of time asking him. I should be thankful for his warning, otherwise I would never know there are people in the dark conspiring against me. While I was busy deciphering William's message, I heard some shameful moans, steamy breath and whispers. My brows frowned hard listening to them. Though we were on the opposite corners of the warehouse, the enhanced ears of a card apprentice was able to catch it all. Moan, Ronnie, not now. Wyatt is right across the room. It's fine. He sold be asleep by now. AHH, moan, AHH. Baby, you are too loud. Hold your moans in. Otherwise, you will wake up Wyatt. AHH. Moan. Why did it get wetter and tighter? I get it, you little perv. Is this exciting you? AHH. Hey. Fornicators, quit it. Ronnie, couch now. Or I will get you fixed as they do to a dog in heat. Fuck. If not for one of them being my cousin and the other one carrying my niece or nephew in her stomach, I would have broken their hips for their sin. Hearing me, the warehouse went quiet, but suddenly Ronnie's scream sounded. Jackie, let go. Let go. You will break it. Jackie buried herself in the blanket out of embarrassment and shame. She felt like dying out of shame, so she decided to punish her perpetrator for seducing her into doing such shameful acts. Escaping from Jackie's clutches, Ronnie limped to the couch and the warehouse was quiet again. Thanks to the adulterers and the heads up from William, the first lost my sleep completely. Since I could not sleep, I decided to mend my soul. Sitting cross-legged on the couch, I focused on using my mental strength to mend the rip in my soul. It was like sewing your limb back on. Therefore for my ease, I equipped the parallel thinking card, as this way I could effectively sow my soul. But suddenly a thought came to my mind. The parallel thinking card was made using the core of a twin-headed ogre card, so I questioned, since the parallel thinking allows the card Apprentice to split their mental strength into two, then does that mean that the twin-headed ogre has only one mental strength which is equally split between its two heads, or are they born with two mental strength for their two heads? Chapter 95, Mutated Soul. Time 0027. The question of whether the twin-headed ogre has only one mental strength which is equally split between its two heads, or is it born with two mental strength for their two heads, was stuck in my head. If the latter part is true, then that would mean the ogre should have two souls for two mental strength. But how can a single body house two souls, as the twin-head ogre only has one body for two heads? The answer to this could only be found by checking the soul pathways and their arrangement in the twin-headed ogre core. Though the twin-headed ogre is only a C-rank monster, it is very rare, as twin-headed ogre is a rare mutation in the ogre monster tribe. And its core is very valuable, since it can be used to make cards related to mental strength. Getting my hands on this core was near impossible, but thankfully I had a parallel thinking card on me which had made use of twin-headed ogre core as the primary ingredient in its creation. So if I dismantle the parallel thinking card, I could get some answers from what is left of the twin-head ogre soul pathway and arrangement. Parallel thinking card was a $20 million card that Susan bought, and it had very high resale value, but I did not hesitate to dismantle it to satisfy my curiosity. My high-grade ingredients were wasted to create this thrash of a card, but I did not care about those ingredients. I looked for what remains of twin-headed ogre's soul pathway and arrangement. I finally found out why the parallel card was so trashy. Whoever created this card was in luck that the origin core of the card did not collapse with so many unwanted soul pathways and arrangements forced into it. The card Apprentice just transferred all the soul pathways and arrangements into the origin core, instead of transferring the soul pathways and arrangements which were needed for the card creation. The soul pathways and arrangements in the origin core were a complete mess. Even myself with my soul pupils had to focus hard to distinguish which soul pathways and arrangements belong to which ingredient. Thanks to this, the soul pathways and arrangements of the twin-headed ogre was still intact and preserved. Twin-headed ogre is a rare mutation of the ogre tribe, and they are hailed as chief of the tribe since their birth because of their prowess, which allows them to contend with B-rank monsters even though it is a C-rank monster. The power gap between the two ranks is very big, which cannot be just narrowed easily, but the twin-headed ogre was able to achieve it thanks to its mutated soul energy, which is twice as strong as normal soul energy. Card Apprentice around the world believe that the mutated soul energy of the twin-headed ogre is twice as strong as normal soul energy because it uses its twin mental strength to reinforce its soul energy. This just a popularly accepted hypothesis, but there is no proof to support this hypothesis, yet. Using my soul pupils, I start analyzing the soul pathways and soul arrangements. Only to find that the soul of the twin-headed ogre in itself is to split the single conscious of an ogre into two conscious to fit the two heads of the twin-headed ogre. The mutated soul of the twin-head ogre was spherical but was narrow in the center to look like two souls halfway into combining as one, or a soul halfway into splitting into two. Fuck. I shouted, forgetting about my surroundings as I had just made a huge discovery. A discovery worthy enough to put together a new power system. Hearing my shout, both Jackie and Ronnie woke up but did not dare to voice out their dissatisfaction because they were too embarrassed from what happened earlier. Turns out that the mutated soul energy of the twin-headed ogre is twice as powerful as normal soul energy because of its mutated soul, which mutated to give the twin-headed ogre two conscious for its two heads, and as a byproduct the soul energy produced by the mutated soul of the twin-headed ogre was twice as strong as the normal soul energy. The mutated soul energy gave many benefits to the twin-headed ogre. Its body was reinforced and enhanced by this mutated soul energy, which gave it twice the result of a body reinforced and enhanced by the normal soul energy, therefore making it twice as stronger than a normal ogre and allowing it to narrow the strength gap between its ranks and the next higher rank. This was good news for me. Yes, to think that thanks to William leaving a tear in my soul I would end up uncovering the secret to enhance one's soul. Instead of sowing my soul, I was planning on using it to my advantage, and with help of the secrets to Twin Ogre's mutated soul, I would mutate my soul. This way I can split my mental strength into two and also have mutated soul energy, which could lead to creating a mutated human core which will enhance my physical prowess twice that of a person with a normal human core, just like with the twin-headed ogre. The best thing about this discovery was that I did not require to create a card for this but could directly modify my soul and gain the benefits of a mutated soul. The more I thought about the possibility of mutated souls, the more excited I became. I suppressed my excitement and thought of what could go wrong, because if it were so easy to create a migrated soul, people would have achieved it by now and the twin-head ogre would not be so rare in the ogre tribe. Finally regaining my calm and collected self, I began to analyze the twined-headed ogre soul pathways and arrangements and compared them with my soul arrangement and pathway to see if what I was thinking was possible or not. Chapter 96, Multi-Consciousness. Time 107. Comparing my soul pathways and arrangements with the one in twin-headed ogre soul, I concluded that my soul could also be mutated. But there was some complication, like if my soul mutated similar to the twin-headed ogre, my mental strength and consciousness would split into two, and that result would be good if I had two heads like the twin-headed ogre. But I do not, and I will end housing two consciousness in my body, which is only meant for one consciousness. I may end up developing something similar to split personality disorder, which I don't want. So I will have to thoroughly analyze the soul pathways and arrangements of the twin-headed ogre so that only my mental strength splits into two and I gain mutated soul energy. This was going to be hard because the purpose of the mutated soul is to lead to two consciousness for two heads of the twin-headed ogre. As for mental strength splitting and mutated soul energy, they are just the byproduct of the mutated soul. Come to think of it, it is similar to discovering how to develop a nuclear bomb into a nuclear power plant. The original intention for the nuclear bomb was the weapon of mass destruction, but later developed into the nuclear power plant to power a country. The nuclear energy example may not be an appropriate example to describe the situation with the mutated soul, but you get the drift. I am not saying it is impossible to make changes to mutated soul to fit my requirements, but I am emphasizing how much of a big a deal it is and how hard it would be to achieve the required results on my own. But still, I had to give it my all, because the possibility of mutating the soul meant the discovery of a whole new power system, other than the existing grimoire power system and previously discovered Viltronian human core power system. One would say the mutated soul is a dead-end power system. At most, it can split mental strength into two and mutate the soul energy to become twice as powerful as normal soul energy. What is the next level? It cannot compare to the 10 realms of the grimoire power system and the Viltronian human core power system. Mutated soul at best can only be an auxiliary power system. It is still far from being a separate and mainstream power system like the grimoire and the Viltronian human core power systems. Those people are right if they only consider the soul mutation in twin-headed ogre, which has only two heads, so its soul underwent mutation only one. But what if you consider the creatures like Cerberus who have 3 heads, Hydra who have 9 heads, or the Hecatonchires who have a total of 50 heads? I do not know how the mutation of the soul in each of these creatures works, but this proves the possibility of the soul mutation process in itself can become a mainstream power system like the grimoire and the Viltronian human core power systems. With enough research, I may even be able to come up with a proper and working realm division for the soul mutation process. But for now, the single soul mutation of twin-headed ogre was enough to enhance my strength. I spent 2.5 hours trying to analyze and come up with a way to avoid the splitting of my consciousness during the single soul mutation process. Heck, I analyzed every soul pathways and arrangement almost 14 times, but still, I could not find the one soul pathway which leads to the splitting of the host's consciousness. After another 45 minutes, I finally realized that it was not just one soul pathway or arrangement which led to the splitting of the host's consciousness, but a network of soul arrangements combined to lead to the splitting of the host's consciousness. Fuck. If it was just a soul pathway or arrangement, I could have solved the problem within a few hours or a day, but a network of soul arrangements would take me a year or decades at tops. My final findings were not optimal for my circumstance. I don't have a decade worth of time to optimize the soul pathway and arrangements of single soul mutation to meet my requirements. By then maybe I would be buried next to Papa and Mama Wyatt. This was frustrating, not because of the time I wasted on optimizing the soul pathway and arrangements of single soul mutation instead of sewing back my soul, but because I have the opportunity to gain more right in front of me taunting me, but I do not have the time to make it mine. It felt so damned frustrating. Just when I was concluding to give up for now and sew back my soul, I suddenly remembered an anime character back in Otherworld with a very interesting and overpowered ability which just so happens to fit my current dilemma. If I remember correctly, the name of the ability was multi-consciousness. Multi-consciousness, this ability gave that anime character the ability to have multiple consciousnesses in a single body. The best part of this ability was that the main consciousness was deemed as the master consciousness while the rest of the consciousness were deemed as slave consciousness. The master consciousness has total and unchallenged control over the slave consciousness. Thanks to this, the user does not suffer from a lack of individuality, thus presenting all the consciousness in the body as singular rather than plural. This also allows the user to see a problem in multiple circumstances within seconds as the other conscious complement what the rest of the conscious have missed. Due to multiple consciousnesses, the user's control over the body increases to the point where he can control the production and supplement of proteins and hormones in his body, allowing the user to freely alter and manipulate his proteins and hormones to achieve superhuman strength, regeneration, immunity, heightened senses, etc. All in all, this ability was one overpowered ability that I could also achieve if I found a way to control the resulting consciousness during the soul mutation process. Which was easy thanks to the basic artificial beast will creation of this world. The consciousness formed after soul mutation will be in the infancy period just like the consciousness of a newborn baby, and it will take at least 4 to 5 years for it to fully gain wisdom and start hindering my main consciousness. But during this period I will program the consciousness to form an artificial intelligence that will be a slave to my main consciousness and follow all my commands and control. If in future I can make more consciousness with the advancement of the soul mutation power system, I will also program the new consciousness to be a slave to my main consciousness before they mature and gain wisdom. This way I finally decided on a perfect solution for my problems with the single soul mutation of the twin-headed ogre. With all the problems solved, all I had to do now was to decide on a perfect way to mutate my soul without harming it. The most efficient and painless way I can think of is by allowing the small part of the soul which is sliced by William to grow into a full soul in itself. Since the sliced soul is not completely torn from the original soul, this way the new soul and original soul will remain connected, and afterwards I can make use of my soul pupils and surgically fit both the soul to form a single mutated soul following the soul pathways and arrangements in the soul of the twin-headed ogre. Finally deciding on the way to mutate my soul, I got off the bed and headed to the card room, but before heading in I turned to look at couch and sighed, "If you adultery couple disturb me, then Ronnie, we will be visiting the vet to get you fixed for once and for all and be done with it." Warning the fornicators, I headed into the card room. Sitting in the card room I took out a soul jade to help the torn small slice of my soul to grow into a complete soul. Finally consuming 2 soul jades, the torn small slice of my soul had fully grown into a soul. Both my soul were connected, but the soul pathways connecting them would not hold much longer, which could lead to the separating of the 2 souls, which would be very disastrous for me cause my body is barely holding on to the weight of 2 souls right now, but once the 2 souls separated my body may completely collapse, unable to house 2 souls within it. So I had to be quick and surgically combine both the souls following the soul pathways and arrangements in the soul of the twin-headed ogre. Chapter 97, Physique and Traits. Time 4:45. Location: Sky Blossom City, Guild Association Mall, Warehouse number 234, Card Room. It is the natural order that one body can only hold 1 soul and thing more, and the body will collapse similar to how a balloon bursts when excess air is allowed into it. Right now my body was edging the limit to collapse due to an extra soul. If the soul pathway bridge between the 2 souls breaks, then my body will also collapse with it. Now I had to enhance and strengthen the soul pathway bridge with more soul pathways from both the souls such that the bridge will become so wide and swallow half of both souls to merge into a single soul with a narrow center familiar to the soul of the twin-headed ogre. The enhancing and strengthening of the soul pathway bridge using the soul pathways from both the souls will be done by following the soul pathway arrangement in the twin-headed ogre mutated soul. This process was hectic and time-consuming, as even though it's just copying, the soul pathways are very delicate, so I had to be very careful and the soul pathway arrangement had to be very detailed. One wrong soul pathway connection could lay waste to all my efforts until now. Finally, confirming all the soul pathway arrangements are accurately reflected, I circulated my soul energy to see the result of my artificially mutated soul. As I circulated my soul energy through my new mutated soul, I felt a pain in my soul far worse than William slicing my soul. The two souls in my new single mutated were fighting and trying to swallow each other, and the soul pathway bridge I created between them following the soul pathway arrangement in the twin-headed ogre mutated soul was trying hard to maintain equilibrium between the two souls, which were artificially stitched together to form a single mutated soul. I was in so much pain that I could not scream, my mind was blank and my drool was flowing from my mouth. I just lay on the floor of the card room like a brain-dead idiot while my mutated soul did its thing. Finally, the soul bridge could not maintain the equilibrium and was swallowed by both the souls. This way both souls had finally become truly one mutated soul instead of an artificial mutated soul formed of two souls combined using a soul bridge. After the pain in my soul had subsided due to the successful formation of my very own single mutated soul, and another mournful pain followed as my consciousness was splitting to form a two consciousness. This time I tolerated the pain, made sure to program the new consciousness into becoming a slave conscious for my main consciousness as it was forming. Once the formation of second consciousness was done, I still did not relax, since I thought next my mental strength will divide between the two consciousness, but that pain never can. Turns out the mental strength of my main consciousness will not be divided between the two consciousness. Instead, my second consciousness will have to develop its own mental strength from scratch, just like my main consciousness did. No wonder the parallel thinking card was total trash, even though it made use of rare and expensive ingredients like twin-headed ogre core, etc. Twin-headed ogre soul pathway do not divide mental strength, but they divide the ogre's consciousness itself. That card Apprentice made use of the soul pathways which divide consciousness to make a card that divides mental strength. It's already remarkable that they were able to form a card even with such a mistake. Next, I ran my soul energy throughout my body to check the properties of the mutated soul energy and if its enhancement were worthy of the rumors about it. As the mutated soul pumped new mutated soul energy, I analysis it. The mutated soul energy was worthy of its praise. I felt twice as stronger, not only that the new mutated soul energy was thicker and purer than the normal soul energy. As the mutated soul energy entered my grimoire, it shone with bright silver light. The silver light was brighter and sharper than the light grimoire previously emitted. Then the silver light spread to my body, coating my skin in a thick and bright silver light. It looked so holy and as if my body was covered in some silver-colored inner armor. They say you can't feel light but see it. Right now, caressing my skin, I had an illusion as if I could feel the silver light covering skin. That's how thick and bright the silver light emitted from the grimoire was. It seems mutated soul energy is as powerful as rumors about it. As I was admiring the silver light, the grimoire suddenly stopped emitting silver light. I had exhausted all the soul energy in the creation of the mutated soul. Now I had to replenish it. So I took the two soul jades I used earlier to develop my sliced part of soul into a full soul and began to extract soul energy from it. There was still soul energy felt in the two soul jades. Earlier I used it completely for the second soul creation because after certain amount of extraction of soul energy the extraction process slows. Therefore, to not hinder the process of soul creation, I used a new soul jade. As I slowly absorbed the leftover soul energy in the soul jade, I suddenly had the feeling of being full, and the next second a huge energy burst within me, marking the sign of a breakthrough in my active soul control. The breakthrough was very large, as for a second I almost believed that I was invincible and started to think no one could defeat me. The sudden breakthrough in my active soul control was not a surprise to me, as I already would my considerable progress in my active soul control after I successfully mutate my soul. Time 7:35. Even though the sudden breakthrough in my active soul control was not a surprise to me, as I already knew I would make considerable progress in my active soul control after I successfully mutate my soul, but I was surprised by the level of progress in my active soul control. I jumped from 17% to 24% of active soul control and directly stepped into card scholar realm from card student realm. I guess this huge progress in my active soul control is justified considering how the mutated soul is made up of 2 complete souls and I spent 2 soul jades to form them. All that excess energy was bound to go somewhere, and I directly broke through from card student realm to card scholar realm. 24% active soul control meant 48 soul power was at my disposal. Now I could equip both my Abyssal Bear card and Stealth Armor card together. These 2 cards along with my mutated soul energy were enough to make me invincible within the card scholar realm. Rank: Card Scholar 24%, 38/48 stars. Physique: Mutated Soul. Traits: Dual Consciousness, Mutated Soul Energy. 1 Abyssal Giant Bear Spirit Guard, 26 stars. 1 Poison Blaster Mounted Full Body Rainbow Scaled Armor, 5 stars. 2 Stealth Cloak, 3 stars. 3 Soul Beam Poison Rifle, 4 stars. 1 Hoverbike Ingredient Cards. 2 Mud Frog Skin, 12 stars. I barely had 5 cards, and even after breaking into the card scholar realm still, my star power was not enough to equip all of my cards, even though 3 of my cards are of near perfect star rating. No wonder the card apprentices with the humble background are so weak and able to achieve so little even after being card apprentices for so long. The star ratings of a low-priced card are so high that a card apprentice in the card student and scholar realm can barely equip 2 or 3 cards at max, and since these cards are cheap, you know they are not strong cards. With such weak strength, they are bound to fail as adventurers compared to rich card apprentices whose parents buy them the best and expensive, and for these poor card apprentices, they have to rely on their extreme skills and struggle to climb higher in society. There seemed to be new changes in my status page as 2 new datas, physique and traits, were added, through which I knew that my mutated soul was considered as physique and mutated soul energy and dual consciousness were considered traits. Since I had never heard of physique and traits, I will have to ask around about this. Maybe other card apprentices might have also opened new data on their status page. Part 5 of the series ends here. If you enjoyed it, please give us a like and subscribe so we can be motivated to make even better videos in the future.